Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the stream. How's everybody doing? 3Dub is here with us tonight at the start.
How's it
You're
going?
you were so quick. I send links to everybody. You are literally the fastest person to jump in when I
I'm the
send links.
Flash. I'm the
Yeah, no, you're
Flash.
so fast. So funny. Hey Sanju, how you doing? Jonathan says started binging all the Mission Impossible films, so I can see the last one tomorrow night. Yeah. Serenity says making it to the show for the show on time for the first time in forever. Good to see you. Hey Jose, how you doing? Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I hope everybody's had a good week. I worked really late last night. I was gonna go live to do the trailers last night, but I'm like I was already live 2 nights in a row, so running late. I didn't get home till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So there we go. But what we're gonna do tonight, the primary topics for tonight's stream is we're gonna watch the Superman trailer and we're gonna watch the Ironheart trailer, and we're gonna talk about them. And there's a few other stories we'll talk about. Some rumors going around as well. I have seen the Ironheart trailer, but spoiler alert, I haven't seen the Superman trailer yet. I haven't watched it. So I've seen pictures of it, like screenshots, but I haven't seen the trailer.
You gave the love to Ironheart, but
Yeah. I thought I watched it. So I got tricked. I looked at a clip of a video from like somebody that was like the new like, you know how like the shorts, they put the trailers in the shorts and everything. And so I watched it and it seemed like it was really disjointed, but I liked it. It was like clips of the trailer, but it was like less than a minute long. So that wasn't a long trailer. So I thought I saw it last night. And then today when I was getting the videos ready, I was like, what is this 2 minute thing? Is this the real? So I haven't seen the full trailer. I've only seen clips and photos. So, but I enjoyed what I saw. So I'm pretty excited to see the actual full trailer tonight with you guys. So I'm pretty hyped for that. And Ironheart, I really enjoyed the Ironheart trailer. There's a lot of hate around Ironheart. We're going to talk about that again tonight. It's like, you can't get away from it, but I promise you guys, we'll end on a high with the Ironheart stuff. Like the Green Lantern, I did see the clip of Guy Gardner. That's one of the ones that was in there with like the hand flipping the tank and all that. So
someone was like, "Isn't it supposed to come out of the ring?" I'm like, "Not always. I don't think it always has to happen that way."
I think it just kind of depends on how it's done in the comics. Like I think sometimes they make it look like it comes out of the ring, and other times they don't, depending on the person writing and drawing the comic book. I don't know if it's 100%.
I think in Green Lantern, the 2011 movie, as soon as it like made something, here. It stopped having like a trail to the ring.
All right, so let's see. So yeah, I mean, it does seem like it almost always does that, but not always. Like historically, it almost always connects to the ring some way. But I don't know if it doesn't say it's always been like that.
Yeah, I think there's some comics where it just doesn't do that. Basically, he thinks it and it just manifests.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is it's glowing. That's the main thing. If it wasn't glowing, it's not working. It's not turned on.
I was expecting to see the usual hate from the people, but wasn't expecting to see as big. Do you mean from Ironheart or Superman? I've seen hate for both of them. Surprisingly,
I've seen love apparently for Superman too.
Oh yeah, a lot of that. I feel like Superman has been a bit more divided, whereas Ironheart just seems to be a lot of trolls.
So. They even made a meme of the fight between the big muscle guy and the female in Man of Steel, where the guy grabs his cape, and basically they have Jurassic World on one, Fantastic Four on the other, and you have Superman on Superman, and Superman's getting thrashed by Fantastic Four and Jurassic World.
I haven't seen that. No, that's funny though. We do have a couple super chats here. Cameron starting us out with a $5 super chat. Have I seen the video of the goat on a power line? I have, but it was like, I don't remember what I saw it on, if it was on Facebook or Instagram or where. I was trying to find it to show you guys. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on.
I also bought a new toy today.
What did you get?
It's a on 11-inch tablet.
Oh, is it like for drawing or something, or like what is it? Like
It can video edit. It can basically use my video editor, which I find cool.
oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
But mainly it's because I didn't want to waste power on really strong computers. So the computers like to drain electricity like constantly.
Mhm.
So a tablet doesn't do that.
Yeah. So here's the video of a goat on a power line. This looks crazy. Like I have you seen this yet?
No,
All
that's
right, let's watch.
crazy.
Let's watch. It's not really like our normal stuff, but since Cameron asked, we'll watch. It's a short video. It's 10 seconds. There you go. How did it even get up there? Like, I'm not too shocked it's balancing because some animals can balance on like wires like that. But how did the goat get up there? Like, let's go back here. Like, it came from this side, so I'm guessing it was on top of one of these houses, and then
Yeah.
it walked like this way. Like you see right here, this power line where it
Yeah.
dips down. I feel like that's what happened. It walked over to here to get this little bit of grass. Like, look at all the green stuff around here. It came all over here for this.
Determined. Someone wasn't feeding it greenies.
I guess. Anyway, that's crazy. Yeah, goats are good climbers. That's true. Yeah, so Naruto. Matter of fact, we'll talk about this first because this is funny. Let me get the article on this. The tweet about this. Because I thank you for the $2, Naruto. I actually had this bookmarked because I was laughing so hard when I saw this yesterday. So hard. Oh gosh, how far back did I bookmark it? I had a lot of stuff bookmarked. Here it is. So this came up. It says Max is changing its name to HBO Max.
Coming soon. Again. It should say.
But
again.
the thing is, I don't think anybody stopped calling it HBO Max. Everybody I know either called it HBO or HBO Max. No one called it Max. Nobody. It literally never changed. Like, yes, in branding it changed, but like in like culturally it never changed. It was always
it's like Twitter is always Twitter, not X.
exactly. Jake has arrived. What is up, Jake?
What's up? What's up? How are you doing? And yeah,
Good.
no one did call it Max. If anyone called it Max, they were making fun of it for being called Max.
I'm old enough to remember when Max was Cinemax.
Good times, right?
Yeah, so like calling it Max never made sense to me because guess what? Look at this name, HBO Max. What is the biggest portion of this name that has the most branding power? HBO.
Right.
Not Max. It never made any sense to just call it Max. So
No, never
they
did.
have to pay probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through and redo all of this branding on everything. Probably like hoodies and t-shirts and stuff on sets. Obviously all the artwork that's going to go into their streaming services, things like that. It never made any sense to take the HBO out of it.
Right, because that's been the branding for God knows how many years now.
Yeah, Paige and I talked about this. Thank you for the super chat, Naruto. Paige and I talked about this a lot. That when you buy something like the CW, right? I'll use the CW as an example. So the CW is not known for quality because of the name the CW. That's just the platform that it's on. The shows were the big things. All the things they had on the CW were what people knew, like Riverdale, All American, Walker, Supernatural, all the Arrowverse stuff.
Right.
Nobody gave a fuck that it was on the CW. It could have been on Netflix. It could have been on any service. They didn't care. Right.
They didn't pay attention to that.
Right. But with HBO, HBO is a prestige brand. It is a brand that is associated with very high quality products. That's what it is. Yeah. So you buy that brand, and what do? You stop using the most expensive portion of what you paid for, which is the HBO branding, and you start calling it Max. It never made any sense. It's what a dumb person thinks is a smart move.
Right. And like when they changed from HBO to Max, they didn't just do, a simple like update and rebrand on the app. They created a whole new application that you got to go to on like your phone or your computer or whatever. Because you tried to go into the old one and say, oh, hey, this one doesn't work anymore. Now go to this one. And I have a sneaking suspicion that, they're going to do another flip around and say, hey guys, this one actually works now. Go back to this one.
I actually think that, yes, you're right. But I also think that the reason why they did it, and if you go now, because I have both of the apps on my Roku, if you go now and you look for, HBO Max at the moment, they haven't changed it yet, but HBO Max, and you look at Discovery, they still brand all of their Discovery stuff under the Discovery banner, which was the company that purchased HBO and then merged with it. I feel like they were trying to kind of subjugate HBO under the Discovery banner. I think that's what they wanted to do and put everything into the Discovery app, because if you go in Discovery, you could watch HBO stuff. And if you go to HBO, you could watch Discovery stuff. It was never combined into one singular application.
Yeah, that's what they're doing with a couple of these bundles now. Like they're bundling like all the Disney Plus and Hulu stuff together and putting them under like the same sort of banner. The only difference is they're making it to where they're making those bundles too expensive.
I actually don't have a problem with this. If it was HBO Discovery, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
No.
Cover new ways to
bundle this stuff together to make it to where it's as expensive as cable was.
True. Actually, one of the things I've noticed is now, like, some of the streaming services allow you to like take in like pauses over 3 months. Like you say, I'm going to take 3 months off or something, and they keep your account active, but you're just not paying and you can't view anything.
Right. Yeah.
And then when you decide to come back, you just reactivate your account because they don't want people to totally cancel. They're like, you can pause because we know if you pause, you're eventually coming back, opposing to canceling.
Yeah. No, that's what I've done with certain, like internet networks too. Like I'll have left one, go under one I previously used, and then I'll be like, hi, new customer here. Haven't used this before, and then like take advantage of all the perks that I can. So it's
absolutely. One of the things I've told people before is if if there's a streaming service that gives you like a free trial, you always take the free trial with a new email address. Always take the free trial, save yourself some money. Actually there's a friend of mine who would do like the 30-day free trial for, I can't remember what it was. It was one of the streaming services, but they did that for a year. They just made a new email address each month and just watched it, got it for free for a year by doing that.
That's like 5 minutes over like however many weeks versus having to empty out your pockets each time.
Yeah, because what they would do is they went to the store, they would get like a $5 gift card from like a Visa gift card and use that as their sign-up card. So that's how you like connect it, knowing there's no money on it. Like they would get the $5 card and then burn the money and then have the card available. They'd put their email on it for that card, so it would verify there is a card, and then it would go, oh, this card is declined, you need to make a new card or whatever, or put a new payment method in. They would just create a new email, start all over again with a new card, and never have to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Well, Tony, HBO actually had a few different names. It was like HBO Go, HBO Now. Like they've rebranded several times.
I remember HBO Go.
Yeah. They've done it several times. So
with now Gmail basically cracked down on the multiple emails, so you can't do that forever.
You can't. You still can. You just have to make a new account to do it.
You still can.
Yeah, you have to do like if you do if you get like X amount of additional accounts on one number, but you can still do another number and start another set of accounts up.
Yeah, and then you can just like borrow your grandma's phone number who doesn't use that stuff anyway. And you have unlimited accounts for that one for as long as it lasts.
I thought they cracked down on my IP basically.
No, there's no IP blocking from that. Like honestly, I could sit here now and as long as I have access to, like for example, if you wanted me to log into your Gmail, all you have to do is tell me what the number is that pops up on your phone, and I can log into your Gmail anywhere from in any part of the world. So they haven't done IP. They haven't cracked down on IP stuff. And even if they did, I could use a VPN. I have Nord, so I just would use a VPN for it. Tubi. Actually, Tubi, oddly enough, and I talked about this the other day, they get some really good movies on Tubi sometimes.
Yeah, shows too.
Yeah, we've been watching Fast and the Furious movies on there. They have all of them right now.
Yeah.
I'm still confused about how that's profitable for people.
Ads.
Oh, ads. Okay.
I go back and I rewatch all of like the Generation 1 Transformers stuff on there.
Yeah.
Like I'll go into one of the collectible shops that's near me and I'll see, something from Tubi playing on the TV that they just constantly have going there. I was like, you know what? You're not having to pay for anything.
Honestly, the ad tier that these companies have, like Tubi and Roku and Plex and all these things, the ads that they use or whatever, there's a couple of other ones that still do it, but they actually make more money than the streaming services that people pay for do because ads pay more for them.
Yeah.
The one thing that they make money off of doesn't like affect me in the sense that because I have ad blocker, so it basically erases all ads on the page.
Yeah. Look, the thing about it is the reason why Tubi and Roku and all these companies exist and they do so well is they are playing into the market of people that don't want to use the paid services. So what happens is if I go to Walmart and I buy a TV that either has Roku built into it or get a Roku stick with it, and I plug that in, you immediately have like 6 different services that you can watch TV on that do not charge you. Tubi's one of them. Roku's the other. Actually, the Roku channel doesn't charge you for anything. Yes, you have to watch ads, like with YouTube, like if you download the YouTube app and stuff. But the point is, they want you to be able to plug your TV in and automatically have access to a library of stuff that you can watch. That's why it's so successful.
Even then, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that's like free during the months and whatnot.
Yeah. If you go to movies on YouTube, there's a lot of times you can watch like classic movies for free, like a lot of the good ones. Mm-hmm. Let's see. We have a video here from super chat here from Cameron. Eric, have you seen the video of James Gunn and John Cena was surprised by Max going back to HBO Max? I saw those, but I think that was all staged. I think it was just them doing it because it was promotional. At least I feel like it was, especially the John Cena one. Because I'm pretty sure they already knew. Like, I don't think they were surprised by it. I think they were already aware of it.
Something that went by them.
Let me turn my fan on. It's a little warm in here. We're having storms coming through, so if my power goes out and I disappear, I will be back. I promise you. I have my laptop charged up and my phone has Wi-Fi on it. Oh, my freaking fan fell. Hold on, we're back.
So how's the weather over there?
Fine. Not bad. Oh.
Sorry about that. My fan fell. So, let's see here. I was afraid to knock my camera over because it's like on the same side of the desk.
Oh, I thought your cat messed something up again.
No, I actually thought my cat was still in here. So I had my window open, even though it's humid, because my cat was in here. And if she comes in, she will sit right here and bug me for treats. I have a little jar of treats for her. Unless the window's open. If the window's open, she'll go over to the window and lay down. So I had the window open for that reason. And it'd been sitting there open like for the last 20 minutes. So I walk around there to pick the fan up, and she's not even in the window. So I just shut the door to my office and close the window because I'm like, I don't want to sit in this humidity if you're not going to be in here.
Right.
So, all right. So we should probably I'm going to do the Superman trailer first because we'll get into the Ironheart stuff later. I don't know if does anybody know if Darren's coming on tonight or not?
No, he told me it wasn't.
Okay. All right. I didn't want to do something without him being here because I know sometimes he likes to talk about certain things. So we'll do the Ironheart stuff later.
Yeah, he said he was heading to bed.
Okay. Cameron here with the $2 super chat says, my grandma's always on Tubi watching bad movies. There are bad movies on Tubi and Roku.
Oh,
Yeah. Like the ones, so if you go back to the early Tubi movies, like the ones from like 2 or 3 years ago, back when they first came out, they are awful. One of them I remember, I don't remember the name of it, but I remember in a scene, like a scene was happening. And in that same scene, I guess the original actor decided not to continue in the movie. So as soon as the camera panned back, it was like literally a different person playing the same role, and they never said anything. They just finished the movie with like the different person in it.
It's like in early Tubi movies. I was gonna say, hasn't Tubi been a thing for like 10, 11 years?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's just weird to think about.
All right, so let's do this. We're going to.
I remember when networks, like stars were a thing. Almost.
Yeah. I do remember that too.
Yeah, almost no one uses that anymore, and like they still wanting to promote things on there.
I think you can. Okay, so don't quote me on this, but I think you can watch stuff on Tubi without an account, but you can't like save favorites and all those things.
Yes, that is correct. You can watch things there, but if you want to like make a list for yourself, you need an account.
Yeah.
Which again does not cost.
It doesn't cost you anything. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to watch the Superman trailer again. Last night, I don't know if you were here, Jake, but I watched the trailer on, I think it was Instagram or something, and one of those like the reels or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so I know I shouldn't be watching it here, but I want to wait and watch the whole thing tomorrow. But it was like a minute long. And I thought it was the whole trailer because it was chopped up and I thought it was good or whatever. I was like, oh, this is exciting. It looks really good. And then tonight, literally right before we started the stream, I went on YouTube and I was like, let me just pull up the actual trailer. It's 2 minutes long. So there's a whole minute of this trailer that I haven't seen.
Yep.
So anyway, so we're going to watch it. People say that Warner Brothers and Paramount, I think, are the worst two for removing trailers.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, like Amazon might be giving them a run for their money with what's just happened.
what happened?
The whole, or is it Amazon? The whole Spider Noir teaser thing.
Oh yeah, we didn't watch. So I was going to watch that on Tuesday, but everybody was like, "Don't watch it because they're striking
there have been
channels."
so many strikes on there.
Yeah. But is it because it was like an unreleased trailer? Is that why?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be out yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't get strike. Usually they just make me like take it out. But we're gonna watch the Superman trailer and then we'll watch the whole thing all the way through. Yeah. And then as usual, we'll talk about it afterwards. So that way, if I have to cut the trailer out, you guys can just hear what we have to say without like all the pauses and breaks.
Yeah.
So,
if it were Disney, they wouldn't care.
Yeah, Disney's oddly enough hasn't pulled trailers from me in a long time, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, they just don't. Like, you don't even have to, reduce the opacity or anything if you're doing like trailer reactions. You can show the full thing there. You don't have to corner around. You don't have to reduce visibility. Nothing.
I wonder why these companies don't just let people react to trailers without.
It's free marketing.
Yeah, I don't understand it 100%. All right.
Never thought I'd say Disney made a smart decision doing that.
I know. They've made some dumb ones over the years. Yeah. All right, so here we go, guys. We got 86 people in the chat.
With a selfie in front of danger.
Yeah. So Reed, there's
Grant, I think that's Tessmacher.
Oh, is it? You think that's what it is?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. There's a lot of little stuff here. It's going to be hard to go through everything because of the trailers and stuff. So we'll try to sort of jump through here a little bit. First off, I want to say I think this is a great trailer. It did exactly what I wanted to do. I know it's going to be different for everybody else, but it did what I wanted to do, which is allowed me to see like the vibe of this Superman.
Yeah.
And what we're going to get.
Yeah.
And David does a really good job in this scene, which I believe this is this was the scene they had to do in the auditions, was this scene here.
I think so, yeah.
The interview scene.
Yeah. Like this trailer was the first, like this was actually really dialogue heavy, so you got to get a sense of how the Superman acts, because the first trailer had next to no dialogue.
Right.
A Superman with a personality.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing. So Henry Cavill Superman, even though I enjoyed what he did when we got him to the point where he was Superman, he was a very stoic, didn't have much of a personality kind of Superman. And there's nothing wrong with that, except I've come to sort of appreciate like Tyler Hoechlin Superman has a personality. My Adventures with Superman has personality. I've kind of wanted a movie Superman to have a little bit more of a personality.
Yeah. So, Cavill Superman and Clark Kent didn't feel like two different people.
Yeah. Yeah, the switch up here was crazy.
Yeah, like you see him literally go into that Superman mindset.
Like right here, I was like, wait, hold on.
He just pulled a Christopher Reeve stand-up scene.
I mean, this is kind of what the comics want you to believe when it comes to Superman, which is he's capable of tricking people because he literally changes who he is when he's like goes from Clark Kent to Superman.
Yeah. And I liked how they he was on the ground and the civilian picked him up, where in the Snyderverse it was more about the people raising their hand like he's a god. Instead, they're helping him up like a friend.
I think so. Zack Snyder's inspiration for how he viewed the Justice League were like gods. Like that's the way he viewed them. Yeah. And instead of taking it as an allegory, he made it like foundational. He made it like a part of who they are as characters. Like literally. Like I think at one point, I can't remember what interview it was, he wanted to make it so that the Kryptonians were the blueprint for the gods of history on Earth. Like all the gods on Earth were
Yeah.
basically Kryptonians.
Yeah, when at the core, like, these characters are normal people at the end of the day with godlike abilities.
Right. Because what happens is it's hard for you to distinguish the difference between an actual god that exists in that universe and the characters when those characters themselves are portrayed as gods.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the tough part. You want to make
Especially when
Superman
you have
relatable.
Zeus.
What was that?
Especially when you have Zeus on screen.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, my thing is, Zack Snyder went through all the trouble in Man of Steel, especially like the middle, like the second act, the middle part of that movie, of trying to make Superman relatable as a human. But then by the time we get to BVS, he's just a godlike figure. There's no humanity there at all. It's just he's turned into a Jesus allegory, a God allegory.
One of the things that I'm like, what I didn't like get drawn to the that particular Superman, that movie Superman, because of the fact that it's supposed to be like supposed to hint at it, but not full on tell you he's the Messiah.
Right. So I'm assuming, based on what we got here, is because Superman is not affiliated with one or another organization, he's considered a vigilante hero, and that's why he's getting arrested.
Yeah, and like
is that everybody else's assessment, or
probably because they view it as him going against, like, a specific country and not being like tied down to one nation or another. But I think like that's going to be something that this movie explores, something that I think Superman and Lois did very well. Is that they say, like, I can't give my allegiance to any one country because I gave it to the world a long time ago.
I think a lot of people want, so if you want a character that represents a country literally in terms of how they look, Captain America is that character. Like, he wears red, white, and blue. That's the visual representation of Captain America. Now, I don't believe Captain America as a character represents the country, but visually he does. Superman is a character that it's that line, what is it? Truth, justice, and the American way, or whatever that line was. That line was just a line. It was just a line that was used. Like, Superman is too big of a superhero to be confined to just one country, and I think that's what we're going to be dealing with in this movie. Is they're going to be showing that.
Changed it to truth, justice, and better tomorrow.
Yes, but a lot of people hate that.
And honestly, the quote-unquote American way has really lost its meaning since that phrase was coined to Superman.
Yeah, it was back during a time when America was sort of the beacon of the world, and now it's not quite, we're not in the same place. And I think that's a good point for like the movie to cover, in the sense of like a superhero going over to another country. I mean, this is what we dealt with the Sokovia Accords. Like, this is this is literally what this is about. Like, if you are a superhero that lives in the United States and you go and you fight a battle in like South Africa or Italy or somewhere like that, are you doing that as a representative of the country? What does that country have to do to tell a superhero to stay the fuck out of our country? Like what do you have to do? So what Superman is doing here, what we can tell in this interview with Lois at the beginning and leading into this, is he's making a judgment call saying, I want to save people. I am doing this because of who I am, not because I believe in this country or not or don't believe in that country. Yeah. He believes in people. He wants to save people.
It doesn't matter where they're from.
It feels like he was like putting on an act too. Like, basically he was embodying what Superman would say in that moment. Like, how like so he doesn't look like it's being like him just talking. I think he would like. I think he put Clark Kent and Superman separate. Like, he was full on Superman.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what the whole thing has been for years, is that who is the real character? Is Superman the real person, or is Clark Kent the real person? Is Kal-El the real person? Like, which one is the real person? I think at the end of the day, all of those people want to help people at the end of the day. I think that's the core of it. So here in this picture, we have Rick Flag Sr., we have Ultraman, and we have the Engineer. Ultraman actually looks good in this shot. I know the behind-the-scenes photos, I wasn't a big fan of the suit, but I guess they've gone in and like touched it up in post-production, because it looks much better here than it did on set.
The pictures also weren't the highest quality either.
That's true. I still don't know if I like Ultraman being reduced to like a thug type character for the government. You know what I mean?
Do you think there's going to be a twist where like Ultraman ends up wearing David Cornsweat's face? Like, do you think they're going to go that route?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder what he looks like underneath because usually Ultraman's the
Looks like
opposite.
Clark Kent, just from another
Yeah,
place. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Clark Kent.
if I remember correctly, they talked about it a little bit. Is that this Ultraman is supposed to be like made from the DNA of Superman?
Yeah.
So he's
So
basically Connor Kent.
I mean, sort of, but look, my issue with it is sort of my issue with it is more about the name than it is about what the creature is or what the person is, because I don't think it's an actual. I think this version of Ultraman is going to be more creaturistic than like the Ultraman we know from like the Elseworld stuff from the multiverse. I don't even know if he's going to have a secret identity. He might just be an enforcer that works for Lex. You know what I mean?
Because he's just typically been, what is it, the Earth 3 version of Superman? Is that what he's been? Did I get the number
The Crime
right?
Syndicate. I think it is. I think it's either Earth 2 or Earth 3. I can't remember after Crisis which one it ended up being, but it's.
I think it was Earth 2 when they said it, like Crisis on 2 Earths.
Yes, originally it was, but I don't know if they changed that later on because they split up the multiverses. Like I've seen it change so many times. To be honest, we've had so many like crises and all these things over the years. I don't know what it is anymore, but I do know Ultraman was the leader of the Crime Syndicate. So,
and was it like ever mentioned that Lex was going to be the president?
I don't know if that was mentioned
because it was basically confirmed in the trailer, like the president.
Well, they showed his face when they said it, but I don't know if they confirmed he was, right. Did they? Did they say President Luthor in the trailer?
That
may be what it's meant to imply, but they just didn't outright say it. Maybe. Yeah.
So the engineer is. I'm a little bit worried, right? I think the engineer looks cool. The powers being the way they're being used and stuff. I think it looks very cool. But I'm a little bit worried based on what we're seeing in the trailer that the engineer that we see here doesn't. I don't see any connection to the Authority in this version. She seems like another enforcer for Lex.
She might have it might be a situation where she, in this scenario, maybe she was detached from the Authority. Maybe she's removed from them. And considering that project is temporarily on the back burner, that would make sense. Just so they don't have to tie into something that might not happen for who knows how many years.
Yeah. So this must be during the kaiju battle, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Because that looks like the kaiju
damage.
there. Already seen this shot here. So this is the, what is it? The Fist of Bravia? What do they call it?
The
hammer.
The
hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Honestly, the look reminded me of Samus from the Metroid.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, this looks a little bit like something I've seen before, but
yeah.
There it goes right there.
Hey, it's Baymax.
I don't know how I feel about this design. It looks a little different from the world it's in. I mean, it's fine. There's a lot of characters in this movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a thing. It's like, I just use this other film as an example. Like, if we weren't constantly being told that there were characters casting for this movie, I doubt we would actually notice how many characters are in there, because it's not as though each character that's casted is going to have the same amount of screen time. So, those castings that you have in there, those characters like all the Daily Planet people could just be limited to literally no more than 5 lines.
Right.
Like, they would have barely any presence. And this is a movie I was going to use for an example. Look at Spider-Man in 2002. You had a lot of characters in that movie that were named, but like less than 10 of them, or like more than 10 of those characters in there, had only a small handful of lines. So I feel like this could be kind of the same thing, that if we weren't constantly being told that there were characters being casted, we wouldn't think there were so many.
Yeah, I also think that we have to remember James Gunn is really good at balancing a lot of characters. So I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a bad thing. Cameron here with the $2 super chat says James Gunn confirms Lex is not president. So it is like it's just sort of a trick in the trailer.
Imply.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. What else we got? Oh.
See, that's the one that was like, it's like a reverse of people praising Superman. This one's helping him.
Very Spider-Man. Very Spider-Man 2 like.
Oh, like the train on
Yeah.
the train. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, eyes up here. I actually like that. It's good.
I do like the corniness of Superman too. Like
I still wish this collar was different. I don't like where that collar is.
The collar, I don't even know if that's the thing I'm the most bothered by. It's like the blue just looks over designed. I don't think all those line patterns need to be there.
I mean, if it's anything like any other movie, the suit will change every single movie. So I'm sure we'll get a different design at some point.
Like he could very well have a different suit by the end of this movie.
Yeah.
I think there's a shot of Christopher Reeve's son in the trailer.
There is.
He's the newscaster.
So here's the engineer using her powers. This looks really cool.
He's like, hey, yeah, those look cool. That's different.
Yeah, this is pretty neat. Totally on board with this, 100%. It's giving me Mystique X-Men vibes, like the suit. It's a little bit like that.
In visual appearance, yeah.
People wanted her as the sexy like metal body that she had from the comics, where it was like super skin tight.
No, because then you would run into like a Transformers Revenge of the Fallen situation, where you had like an attractive looking Decepticon. Sorry to reference that god awful movie, but that's the first thing I thought of when you said that.
The whole like going in the Fortress of Solitude is kind of getting like, we've seen it constantly. Can we do something new? Where like they break it.
I want to give everybody like a kind of a view of what the engineers, because people might not be familiar with this character, kind of what the engineers suit looks like in the comics. I want to point out this isn't the only design, but it is one of the more like prevalent ones with the long metallic hair.
Yeah.
And the segmented body, obviously the ability to like make weapons and things like that.
Yeah.
So this is what she looks like. A lot of people wanted this, but it doesn't look like we're going to be getting this version. We're getting the one that looks like this, which I think a lot of people are going to be. I don't know. I've seen some people complaining about it. I don't know if it's a big deal to me. I think it looks cool.
People complaining about it. It's like, oh, like that's what they're like. It's like, did you even know who this character was before all this was coming out?
Yeah, probably not. I like the Authority. I read it back in 2000, but I know it's a niche thing. Not a lot of people did.
Yeah,
so
very, very niche. Because like those, no joke, like I would get those from my public library when I was in like middle school because a few of them were still out.
Yeah.
And it was like the only, because you had those smaller nerd sections that were like, hey, like Batman, Superman, and like the MCU had just started around that time. So they were like Iron Man and Hulk. And I'm over here like, hey, this is the Authority. Everybody would go, what the fuck are you reading? Yeah. It was a odd time.
I love the original design of the Brian Hitch stuff. What's up, Mr. Face? How you doing? She looks like Silver Surfer. Well, to some degree, except with more like segmented pieces. I would say she looks more like Cyborg to me.
More like Cyborg. There's a character design that like I'm thinking of in my mind, but I can't figure out what the name of it is.
Mm-hmm.
God, I see the abilities, the animation, and the powers all clearly in my head, and I can't think.
Is it the one that has green kryptonite in his chest? Okay, not that guy.
No, not Metallo.
I mean, look at her just ripping through the robots like here.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Crazy stuff. We have Lex walking through.
Yeah. And
look, Crypto going at her right here. This is Crypto is coming for. By the way, I have to give him a shout out. Excuse me. Crypto's visual effects look really good.
Oh yeah.
Probably one of the best like animals we've seen in a movie.
We know how James Gunn likes to capitalize on animal creatures.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved from this too, like what
is that coming? Did Crypto? Is she bleeding like weird blood?
I think it's like cybernetic fluid. I think.
So she must be like mainly nanotech then, most likely.
I'm guessing.
I wonder if he bit her or slapped her, scratched her.
No, he scratched her. Like that's a scratch.
One of the things that I'm loving out of this too, and like I'm very like back and forth on this show. Like there's things I like, things I'm not sold on, but the bit where Lex, says he's not a man, he's an it, reminds me of when you first saw John Cryer's Lex appear, and like where he's talking with Lena, and she goes, "Well, at least he's a good man." And Lex goes, "He's not a man." It's like that is how somebody like Lex sees Superman, as like an alien or a resource, not as a person.
Right.
Hi, Lance.
Someone commented on that one, by the way, where it basically said that she just got hit by a fast bullet. to the side.
Assuming that Superman doesn't know how to actually pick people up without hurting them. I mean, that's the thing, is that people assume that because Superman is going so fast that he hasn't learned how to actually pick someone up without hurting them. It's just dumb brain rot complaints. Like,
Yep.
that's all it is. It's people wanting to complain for no reason. I'm all for, like, I don't mind some realism and some, like, oh, well, you know, that wouldn't happen because of XYZ. But I'm going to assume Superman wouldn't pick people up and murder them if he didn't know that was going to happen. Like,
They basically like compare it to A-Train, where he just like rips the arms off of someone.
right. Well, that's because, I mean, are we literally comparing as a superhero that does awful shit and doesn't really know how to use his powers to full potential versus Superman? Like, that's really stupid.
It's crazy.
They did it with the last version of Superman, where they compared him to all these people like Homelander and Omni-Man.
Yeah. Also, we have to remember that The Boys is a satirical version of all of this. So they're going to do the most like outrageous stuff.
And I always like picture like the Flash doing similar what Superman does. Basically, he gives some of his power to where the person can withstand like the velocity that he has to endure, so that he doesn't like basically tear them apart.
It's just funny, Eric, you
Or
brought
he
up-
just knows how to pivot. I mean, he did it in Man of Steel. He tucked and rolled after he picked somebody up.
We also don't know. We also don't know if he flies in for a second. He stops,
It cuts
grabs
away.
them, and then flies away. We don't know.
It
We have
cuts
no
away.
context on that.
he's a lot faster than what's happening around him.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is people didn't complain about it every time Spider-Man swoops in and swings and grabs somebody.
Right,
It's just it's annoying.
And also, all the times Spider-Man didn't catch somebody.
Right. Like Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
I think that like there's a level of nitpicking that just becomes like, bro, why are you even like? Do you want it to be good or do you want it to be bad?
Yeah, like all those
I've been
color
on a
grading
blocking
experts,
spree.
you know? All those
I've been
people
on a
that-
blocking spree today
All those people that pretend that they're color grading experts.
as well.
Right.
It gives the film a fisheye type of feel, but I think that's to make the film look more unique.
By the way, I want to say like he looks great here. I don't know what Grace
Oh, yeah.
Randolph was on about. Like he looks great as Mr. Terrific.
I like the mask, but at the same time, it's the lip part.
I would have
It's the
preferred,
lip part.
honestly, I would have preferred it to just be the black paint without the little piece.
Like
over
how they
top
did
of
on
it.
Arrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, I'll say that was the one thing Arrow got right about the character was the costume. Everything else was a far cry.
Yeah, like they made the character look exactly like the comic book version, but just that's the only
Yeah.
the only real connection there.
It's like you rename him, you make him a quirky sidekick to Green Arrow, a less competent version of a hacker type character. It's like, no, he is one of like the 3 smartest people on the planet.
Serenity, who's too small? Mr. Terrific?
I was about to say Eddie Gathegi, like Mr. Terrific is
Look
not.
at him with the jacket off. Like,
I mean, he's also not
jacked.
known, but he's also not a character that's known for being like the most jacked person either.
yeah.
I mean, honestly,
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up a picture of him because I need people to understand that it's not always them not being big. It's the costume design. No
Yeah.
offense, Serenity, but I need to.
I
show
was going to
this
say,
here.
if
Whoops.
you look at like an animated picture of him from the Injustice movie, that's a good point of reference. The animated one, which I know that movie's not great, but I mean,
Again,
he was
people.
well designed in it.
Yeah.
Like
Again,
here,
people
here's
don't-
what he looks like with his shirt
Yeah.
off. Like
Yeah.
he's a jack guy. He's muscular, but they've got him in a big leather jacket. Like,
Yep.
It's more about the costume. I would say
Right.
that the costume doesn't showcase his muscles as well.
Right.
But we haven't seen him with the jacket off yet, which I'm assuming at some point he will take the jacket off.
Yeah, it's
But
just
is
a,
it,
it's just a jacket. The same way David Cornsweet is jacked, but our regular body like doesn't translate well through unless you want them wearing skin tight spandex.
right?
But
not
I
gonna
actually
translate
think
through
when the
that.
jacket comes off, we will see his muscles. Like we
Yeah.
will see how muscular he is.
What is it with all these Twilight actors playing DC roles?
That's a good
It's
point.
like, there's so many when you look at it.
Fun fact:
Uh,
Tyler Hoechlin was supposed to be
Yep.
Edward Cullen's brother,
Yep.
but he
Yeah,
turned it down.
What do we
Like-
think about Lex in this iteration so far from what we see in the trailer?
His eyes are mesmerizingly blue, so he should him and Superman. He should be best friend. He might be Superman's brother.
So upgrade or downgrade from Jesse Eisenberg?
Upgrade.
Upgrade. So far upgrade.
Okay,
But hear me out. When we finally got like Lex, shaved head Lex, I thought Jesse Eisenberg looked great as that version of Lex Luthor, and the way that he kind of like
they took too long to get to it though.
Yeah,
it should have been like that from the jump. Right. The long hair, like hippie guy, like that's not Lex. I mean, sorry.
To give credit where credit is due, the one scene you saw at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League where he tells, Slade Wilson Batman's identity, that's a good scene. Like even
this Lex is pulling bitches. That's all I gotta say. Like I'm just no offense to bitches out there. I love you all.
Another nitpick that I had, and this is just a nitpick. That way people don't say I'm overly glazing the film. I nitpick everything. Everybody knows that. His line delivery after when he says I can't have that, that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird to me. Maybe they'll redub it, but that was kind of weird to me because everything before that was perfect. Superman's not a man.
You're gonna be that kind of dude, Lance? Is that what we're doing tonight? Yeah, we're nitpicking tonight now. Is that what we're doing?
That was my only. It was just the way the line was delivered.
Yeah. That might have been from a different part in the movie though, and they just ADR'd it over that.
Yeah, I want to say this. This is giving me. It's been a long time since we had him, and I know 3Dub is going to jump up and down, but this is giving me like Michael Rosenbaum vibes.
Thank you.
Like not one for one. Like I'm not saying put them side by side. It's like you can't tell them apart. I'm not saying that. I mean like just the overall delivery from this Lex is giving me this is like Michael Rosenbaum's Lex grown up a little bit. I know they're like the same age theoretically, but this feels like a slightly elevated version of the Smallville Lex Luthor.
He also got that sarcastic kind of quirky vibe that Michael Rosenbaum gave off, where that crazy.
I mean, am I wrong? Yeah. Does anybody else see that?
I see it.
I get John Cryer.
Okay, all right.
John Cryer's worse.
I get a younger John Cryer version because this one's a legit scientist. Michael Rosenbaum's Lex didn't come off as a scientist to me.
If he does like explosion dancing, I'm going to be like, okay, that's John Cryer.
Michael Rosenbaum's could be like the younger version to Michael Cutlett's Lex. I could see that.
I don't know. That Lex was
too dark.
Michael Cutlett's Lex is like, I don't want to meet this dude in an alley or anything like that. Like
he definitely fit the revamped version of Tyler's Superman that you got.
Yeah, like that Lex was a different level for me, but I loved it. But it was a different level for me.
That Lex is Kingpin. That was Kingpin.
Michael Rosenbaum.
I need a chair. Okay, cool, got you.
Yeah. I think would fit the Christopher Reeves version of Lex.
Wait, the Lex from Superman and Lois?
No, Christopher Reeves Lex.
What about that though? What were you saying?
I think the Michael Rosenbaum comes. I think Michael Rosenbaum's Lex has a little inspiration from the Christopher Reeves Lex.
I don't see that. I see Michael Rosenbaum and John Cryer's Lex being very similar.
No, because the Christopher Reeves, Gene Hackman Lex.
I mean, I see John Cryer's Lex being like the one from Christopher Reeve, from the Gene Hackman one.
I mean, the Gene Hackman one was just the greedy businessman archetype. I mean, he was probably the worst thing about those movies. He
was, but that was the vibe they were going for.
What about Titus Welliver? What about that Lex?
Oh, what is that? The one from Titans?
Yeah.
I try to.
Why even cast him? That's my question. Like, why even cast him?
I try to purge a lot of that show out of my memory. Okay.
That was the biggest Lex that we've had, though. Like, I think he was the tallest Lex.
Oh, this is a hot take.
I think Michael Cutlett's was taller.
I will say that movement and on the boat was like probably the highlight of Lex, but not him as Lex.
Do you want my thoughts on Kevin Spacey as a human being, or how his Lex was in Superman?
Just Lex. Separate
because the human being shit would probably go into another direction. I think he was in that movie. I think his Lex was really good. I think he played a good Lex Luthor in that movie, especially opposite Brandon. But it was an extension of the Gene Hackman Lex, which is the one that a lot of people now say doesn't work anymore because he isn't like the Lex from the comics. For me, my Lex, even though I grew up in that era, has always been Michael Rosenbaum. That is the Lex that I enjoyed. I just liked his performance of Lex. I think John Cryer was good. Michael Cudlitz was good. This one might actually end up being my next favorite Lex, depending on how they go with it.
I'm loving the Smallville love.
I'll say my favorite Lex has kind of always been Clancy Brown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like that just kind of feels like Lex to me. He's got the disdain for Kryptonians. He's not all out for money. He's somebody that always sees himself as the hero. Got a lot of layers to him.
Yeah. So
my favorite Lex was the one off of Superman and Lois season 1, Captain Luthor. That was my favorite Lex.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Says here, Gene Hackman's Lex was also used as comedy relief as he interacted with goons. So my thoughts on that, and I'd have to go back and look and see what was said by Donner about this, but I feel like Gene Hackman's Lex they wanted a cartoon villain in live action.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was.
That's what I think. So
I mean, I like Gene Hackman as an actor, and he could have been, a good Lex. I think that's something that not only doesn't work anymore, but putting that next to Superman. I mean, because it's such a. I think, especially looking at it on hindsight, that is just a very kind of generic trope, like the greedy businessman that's out for money, and. Like you want your villains to be a little more you want them to be a little less one note than that. But for the time, there wasn't a lot to compare it to. I get that. But even then, when it comes to Kevin Spacey, because it was supposed to be a continuation of Hackman's, even then I didn't really like it. Leaving aside all the real world issues that Kevin Spacey caused, aside, I think the only good thing to come out of Superman Returns was Brandon Routh.
And I liked Brandon. I feel like more so than in Superman Returns. Maybe it's because of the age difference. Brandon Routh was even better as Superman in the Arrowverse.
Crisis, I agree.
I think his Superman was much more he felt like Superman in those scenes, opposed to But he had 2 decades to get it to fix it after it happened. So
he was also given better material,
like 15 years, something like that. Yeah, true. That's true. Because Superman Returns came out the mid 2000s.
2006, yeah.
Okay, so he had over a decade to change up to change it up.
And that Kingdom costume was fucking phenomenal.
I keep forgetting that there's a Lex in the Superboy TV show.
There's what?
There's a Lex Luthor in the.
I vaguely even remember that show. I try not to remember it.
I was about to say no one even remembers that show.
I mean, I watch it on occasion.
Cameron with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I seen a post that said the engineer will lose her human appearance as the movie goes on. Well, I think it's possible if she gets beat up like she did with Crypto, maybe her appearance changes because she can't, her human form doesn't come back or something.
Yeah, or
maybe
you see it maybe slowly ripped away over the course of the film.
I mean, it's possible. I'm not totally sure. I think I'm okay with this design. My issue is I think the all black aesthetic is overused in superhero media, and people just don't want to see that anymore. That's
Has
really
it been
what it is.
said what the runtime for this movie is? Has that been announced yet?
I don't know. I think it's got to be at least 2 hours, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And the thing that gets me to, just to go on a small little thing here, say just say hypothetically that it was announced to be 2 hours and 6-7 minutes. So many, especially people on the younger side these days would go.
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it's
okay,
140
yes,
minutes.
That's good. But people say it were a little bit less time than that, they would say, it's only 2 hours and 6 minutes. There's a lot of people that would perceive that runtime as short. And that's not a short film. Back, whenever we were growing up, that would be a little bit long.
Most movies when we were growing up, an hour and a half. They weren't very long.
An hour on average would be an hour 30, hour 40 minutes. Some would go a little bit longer than that. And every couple years or so, you would have these 3 hour epics, like your Pulp Fiction or your Titanic, what have you. You would have those longer ones, but on average, they were an hour 30, hour 40 minutes.
Yeah. So here we have a scene where I thought this was kind of cool. Metamorpho creating kryptonite.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on with his character.
Obviously he's being used by these are the Lex suits, right? So he's being used by Lex Luthor somehow, some way. Clearly being able to create kryptonite is pretty broken. I don't know if he's ever done that in the comics or not. Has he?
Yeah.
I think so.
Done it. Yeah, he's done it in the comics. I think he did it in another cartoon.
Didn't he even do it in Justice League?
The
believe so.
cartoon.
Cartoon, yeah.
Maybe I missed that. I just think it's cool. It's something that we haven't really seen too much of.
I think the design looks great.
Yeah, I still think Metamorpho looks a little weird to me, but we'll see. We'll see when the movie comes out. I'm not totally against it or anything.
I mean, this will be the first time that he's been done, not only in live action.
Call him the Justice Gang.
What is Mr.
Oh
Terrific
my God!
on?
Has somebody already did somebody already make the joke? Justice Gang, James Gunn, JG. Did somebody already make that joke?
Yes, that somebody literally made that on Twitter because they thought that the logo looks like a JG.
Oh, I don't think that. I just think the initials are funny. But yeah, it's funny to me.
I think their name Justice Gang. Then at the end, they're gonna be like Superman, or somebody's gonna be like, we should change it to League or something because Justice Gang is a corny name.
I'm assuming they're going to go down like a Justice League International route here with these guys. That's just my guess. But I mean, it could also be them, for at least temporarily, they could be going down a Terrifics route because you have Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho, two members of that team already there. So they could be doing their own version of that.
I still don't think there's enough green in Green Lantern suit. I'm going to stand by that. I wish there was just something like the belt or something else needs to be green. Like it is so much white on that suit. The green is the accent color.
Yeah, and like even the logo on the belt looks a lot darker. Like it barely looks green.
Yeah.
So are we all under the same thought process of the fact that the Justice Gang is trying to recruit Supes. Supes is in Superman, not actual other metas. They're trying to recruit Superman to work with them. He knows them, but he doesn't want to work with he doesn't want to work with a corporate. He doesn't want to work with a corporate team, possibly because he doesn't want to wear that shit. But,
right. They could very well get their more traditional suits by the end of the film.
Yeah. So he doesn't want to work with them because he doesn't want to be a.
Well, we know they don't because they show up in Peacemaker season 2 wearing the same suits.
But we don't know where that lands at.
Yeah.
At least that scene.
Yeah, like timeline wise.
I think that scene might be a flashback in the show.
Yeah.
It's weird to look at the order of this because the thing that's going to address the timeline change is coming out a month after the first big installment in this universe. So it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, Guy Gardner's hair. I'm hearing though from the test screenings that he's one of the best characters in the movie. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, it'll be the first. I mean,
all right. Let's talk about Hawk Girl's suit because that's been one of the biggest points of contention. How do we feel about the look of Hawk Girl? Because
I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Oh, so you like it? Like a lot of people have said they don't like it. Obviously, Mr. Terrific suit looks like Mr. Terrific suit, so there's really not much to say about that. But the other two are the ones where it's like.
I honestly think Mr. Terrific is where Maxwell Lord got the idea for the rest of the suits.
Probably, yeah.
And of course, Guy Gardner is just that much of a dickbag that he'd be like, "Yeah, I'll wear this. I'll make it look good." Yada yada yada.
Yeah, and like we just said, this could very well just be like a temporary sort of thing while they're, under Lord's brand and whatnot. It's like, I doubt this is what they're going to look like, for the long term.
Well, her wings also look like organic wings instead of like the ones they had in Black Adam.
Yeah, because
I thought Black Adams was coming out of his back.
Well, the Kendra Saunders version that this is based off of, did she not have the metal wings? If I'm not mistaken.
She's the alien version, Jay Burt.
Does she not have the metal wings originally, and the Shi'ar version is the one with the organic wings? At least I think that's right.
There's some kaiju.
Wrong.
Are we still standing by the fact the kaiju battle happens at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
Also, they changed the look of the kaiju.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
It looks more along the lines of what the toy design looked like. It did not look like this in it. It didn't look like this in the teaser. I don't remember it looking like that.
Oh, with all the colors and stuff on it and everything? Yeah. What is this? What is it even doing? I don't...
I think it's a Lex thing. Hey, Big Belly Burger. I think it's a Lex
thing. Oh, yeah. Just caught that.
Oh, there's a...
Christopher Reeve's son is up in that ad. Yeah. The one
actually, people are saying, that's not him. That his scene is something that was filmed on the street, and that's just a random anchor.
No, there's actually a photo.
Wow.
All right, so here we go. 3Dub. this is the argument we've been having in chat. You got to get into this too. I want to know everybody's opinion. So, using constructs that just come up out of the ground and stuff instead of it coming out of the ring specifically. I looked it up online. Most often, it's shown directly coming out of the ring, but it doesn't always do that. There are times where it's not always coming straight out of the ring. How do we feel about this? Because I love the idea of a giant construct, just his hand as a construct. I like that. But it is coming up out of the ground. It isn't coming out of the ring. Thoughts on this?
I think all that's just going to be symbolic to Guy Gardner's character, because like in the first trailer we saw where it was just like a generic beam of light, wasn't anything special, and now it's just this. And like with, as they've said before, the Green Lantern constructs are only as strong as their will. I imagine Guy Gardner's will is going to be definitely on the lower side, like what his willpower would be, and in tandem with that, his, I guess you can call it, creative mind for making these contracts is going to be very bare bones, very minimalistic, and it's going to result in things like this. That's just my 2 cents on it, because
Lance,
very basic things.
When you play the clip, you see a little twinge of green coming out his ring.
Let me do this. I'm going to mute it, and we're going to slow it down. Playback speed.
Yeah, that's why I was basically like, if the green isn't turned on, then it shouldn't happen. There should be like a little glimmer of green in the ring. Yeah, there is.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's not coming out of the ring. I think that's the complaint people had about it.
Yeah,
but at the same time, the willpower. He's been a Green Lantern for a very long time. He's damn near 60. So
wait, did a little bit of the glow like go into the ground before the thing came up, or no?
Let's look at it one more time.
it looks like it did.
Our internet detective skills. Let's do it.
The kaiju is so hot.
No, I don't think
It's hard.
did.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Because
Is that
at the same time, when they make constructs that are like literal cars, it's not attached to the ring.
Yeah.
They're
So,
in them. When they make giant mechs out of their constructs, they're not.
Or even like the
in
racetrack from the movie.
He literally rode on it after it detached from the ring. As long as your willpower is strong enough.
Yeah.
So is this Lex? Is Hawk Girl flying with Lex in the scene here? Watch, you'll see it.
Potentially. Yeah. Maybe.
So wait, backtrack. Can we backtrack? Aldous Hodge's wings were not organic?
No.
No, they were nth metal.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was coming out his back.
So
I thought they were just armored.
wait a minute. Hold on. No, you might be right. Hold on. Let me look it up.
Because
maybe they were.
Even the Thanagarian from Naomi.
I almost remember
his back.
Okay, but I almost remember him walking around with no wings when we first meet him in the movie.
Yeah, like whenever
I mean, Kendra and Carter off of Legends of Tomorrow had no wings. They just pop out their back. I think that's what they're doing is they just all pop out their back. So it won't, because people are like, Marvel did it first.
Hawkman's wings and Black Adam were technological extensions of his suit, not a natural part of his body.
What suit though?
It was the armor piece that he wears.
The nth metal armor that he wore.
Well, I mean, these aren't just going to be on her back 24/7 either, though. So
I don't know. I do know that I think they made it out. So the vibe I got from Black Adam was that Hawkman was kind of like a Thor character. He was really strong and powerful, but he wasn't as strong as Black Adam. That's the vibe I got.
Yeah, because because those the Hawk characters, whenever they typically go things like the Thanagarian route, they're typically on the power level of somebody like a Wonder Woman in terms of strength.
Yeah.
Then why not have their wings on their back 24/7?
I don't know. Don't know.
Either way it go, I thought his wingspan was like.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even mind, the way that they did it in, Legends, where they just sprouted from the backs and everything.
You think this is Eve Tessmacher here?
That is Eve.
Yeah, that's Eve. That's not Cat Grant.
It looked like Cat Grant for a second.
That's Eve. Cat Grant's hair is black.
Is that the hammer in the background?
Yeah, that's the hammer.
She
Again,
usually,
it looks like Samus.
She usually has blonde hair, though. That's why I thought it was Cat.
That's the nanotech from the engineer there for sure.
Yeah.
Is it? I thought that was Venom.
Could
Almost
be.
looks like it for a second, yeah, doesn't it? Luthor core coffee mug.
So what is this shot here?
What are they stepping out of?
Lois and Mr. Terrific, and they're.
The Hammer Baravia scene in that in some scenes is some.
Oh, you're right. That's
as
true.
well.
Yeah. So what is it then?
That is. I don't know.
Is it a portal?
I don't think so. I don't. That's the Bat Cave.
Well, there's like like look up in the back. There's like things floating around it. This doesn't even look like a. It doesn't even look like an actual like place. It looks more like a portal between places. Like there's no ground or anything.
It kind of gives. I don't know. I know this isn't going to be.
Serenity says it looks like the Phantom Zone, or people think it's the Phantom Zone.
I know this isn't like going to be in the film, but it kind of gave me a vibe of the Nicolas Cage Superman scene in the Flash movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's a boom tube though. Like, let's look at it again. It looks more like actual people like human being technology.
Well, those aren't things. Well, actually, I stand corrected on that. I was about to say like those aren't things that are technologically generated, but no, Cyborg makes those.
Hopefully, there's no big spider coming.
You know what? This looks like something broke out of here. Like, it looks like they're standing somewhere where something broke out. Maybe this is where the hammer breaks out of it, and they're there where that happened.
Yeah.
I think that's in Lex's makeshift prison.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because I've seen people say Phantom Zone. I don't think
Because look, if we look here in this shot, it
Phantom
looks like
Zone
it's
is
this
in it.
place. It looks like here.
Yeah.
I mean, that could very well exist, but I don't think that's what this is.
Because like, look at the way this looks, and then look behind Metamorpho. It's very like they're similar.
Yeah.
Places.
And even that place that
oh,
you
even
saw,
right here. This is it right here too. This is looks like it's all in that same area.
So,
shot that
Eric,
you've
hear me
seen in
out.
the trailers now, where you see Superman busting out of that glass. I think that's in the same area that all this is in.
You said hear you out. So what's up?
Oh, hear me out, Eric. Hear me out. One, I'm gorgeous, by the way, just so you know that. Just putting that out there because that is very important information. Hear me out. Metamorpho, Rex Mason, is secretly Kyle Nimbus from season 1 of The Flash. He's secretly Kyle Nimbus, right? Right? Okay. It's the same guy. He never actually died. At the end of season 1, he got transported through one of Lex's portals.
It became a mist.
And became Metamorpho.
Is that the fucking virus guy?
He was the mist, and then became Metamorpho. That I honestly think I'm right. I think I'm right.
And in an alternate timeline, he was a hitman with some tally marks on him in Gotham.
Yeah.
And, yep. I think he was called Zaz in that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the whole trailer. I like the trailer. I think it hits all the beats that I need it to hit. I think it's a good trailer to me. All the people nitpicking it, I think, literally just don't know how to have fun.
People said that he has that they're body shaming David Cornsweet. They said he looks gay.
What is that? Like, how? What is he doing that looks gay in this movie?
Gay. They were saying he looks gay because of the scene where he's having the discussion with Lois. They said it makes him look gay when he stands up.
Like, I don't even know what that means, though.
I don't either.
Right. And they're saying like, oh, like it's not like a giant muscle suit there. It's like, well, guess what? You guys made comments about whenever Henry and Tyler had muscle suits on,
right?
So, like, you're gonna fucking complain either way,
right? So now they want muscle suits. Or they didn't want them before, but now they want them,
right? So, and then like all the old heads, and Eric, I'm not including in this conversation, but like they thought Christopher Reeve was plenty jacked on his own.
They thought Brandon Routh was jacked.
He was like that was his even when you saw him in Crisis, like that was his natural physique.
No, and you see, I make this point all the time, and they don't have an argument. They don't complain when it's a Marvel character,
right? But the minute it's a DC character,
the minute it's a DC character, oh, they're up in arms.
Right?
Sentry, Captain America, Steve Rogers. Okay,
Red Guardian,
any of the Spider-Man, Red Guardian.
Wolverine,
DC. Deadpool.
Well,
I
yeah.
could literally go on
Bucky.
and on and on. Bucky, they don't complain when it comes. Falcon is even jacked in the comics.
Yeah.
When it comes
Thor.
to any of them, they don't complain. They do not complain. But when it comes to Superman, and they only did that because Zack Snyder, and nothing is wrong with what he did, but they only do that now because he presented them as, God. But and people want to cry and scream, say Henry Cavill didn't have a muscle suit and Ben Affleck didn't have a muscle suit. If you really think Ben Affleck's suit didn't have, look at Ben Affleck out the bat suit, and then look at him in the bat suit. He's a freaking tank. That doesn't make sense.
The only way you could make them look that way in those suits is if they were literally spandex.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the only way.
And even then, human bodies don't get that oddly proportional.
Right. And like Snyder still gave, the most jacked Batman that had ever been seen on screen, and people still complained.
Right.
He went from Ben Affleck goes to walking like this in the bat suit to this when he's out of it.
Right.
That doesn't, and people say that's not a muscle suit.
I mean,
That doesn't make sense.
I mean, he had still worked out a good amount for that movie, but you
Yeah,
can tell
he was in great shape. So was Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah.
But legitimately, you cannot poke out of a suit like that unless it is sprayed on.
Right. True. All right. Before we move on from the trailer, though, we do have a super chat and this. I want to say, Lone Wolf, thank you. It says, do you like the logo? I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think of the logo here? Because Paigey doesn't like it. I know that.
It's Kingdom Come.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
like
like that they've mixed a couple different things. Like they have the Kingdom Come symbol, they have the Fleischer outline. I like that it's kind of a celebration of just all the past different iterations of Superman, which is not only extended to the logo but the costume too. I mean, is it my favorite? No, but I also am not, starting a Twitter war campaigning against it.
Right.
I mean, Brandon Routh's version is a little bit better.
I'm not going to argue against that. I love the Kingdom Come suit that Brandon Routh wears in Crisis, so I'm not going to argue against that. Let's see.
Even the suit, no lines.
Serenity says here, nothing wrong with him looking gay, and he does. This coming from a gay man, and that is fine. That's why he was cast as a gay man twice. But I don't understand what it means in the context of this movie. Like, what does that mean? I understand the idea that a person may present more as a gay person. Like, I understand that. Like, literally, I get it. But I don't understand what it means in the context of this. He's wearing a white button-down shirt. So I don't really know what it is, other than he's got nice hair, I guess. I don't...
Apparently that makes you homosexual?
I guess. I don't know. I don't... Like, look, if they want to make... if they want to make his character gay, they wouldn't have put Lois in the movie, I guess.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. Is he going to have a boyfriend? Is it a bisexual Superman?
Are they going to do to Superman what they did to Tim Drake?
Maybe. Or if they do, they could always do John Kent, do that storyline. That would be one. But all right. So Cameron with a $5 super chat says, I've seen some people theorize that maybe a pocket dimension. So maybe. I mean, I think whatever it is, it's connected to Lex's prison. That prison space, because that's what it looks like the floating buildings and stuff like that.
Well, here's an out there theory. Could be Cadmus.
Possibly.
I'll throw that
There's
out.
a lot of stuff. Look, I like that there are things in that trailer that we don't totally understand.
Right.
Because that means we're going to get a lot of stuff. Because we have a lot of characters, but the fact there's things we don't get tells me that we've got a lot to unpack that's not in the trailer, which is a good thing.
And it's not giving away the movie.
Right.
Because, I mean, as good as some trailers for certain movies are, there are oftentimes where they give away too much.
Yeah, exactly. Their son is gay. Get it right, people. Get it right.
Their son is bi.
I was gonna say, I actually think John is bi, and I hear people say gay all the time because they think that's interchangeable. No offense to you, even Flo, because maybe that's the way it's been presented in articles. But I've seen articles and people explicitly say gay for his son, and I'm pretty sure, unless something has changed recently, he has been canonized as bisexual.
Is yours truly a troll, or is he joking?
I think he's joking, or they're joking. Here we go, Lance. Thoughts on this?
He was never excited for it, so do we really care?
It'll make plenty of
I
money.
mean, I'm just being completely honest. He was never excited for the movie, so I mean, your opinion didn't change anything. It's not doing anything.
It'll make plenty of money.
More, no offense, it's just useless information. I don't get why people do that. Like, just don't see it.
Michael here goes, I like the symbol also. This is not so much the comic book kingdom. Yes, it is. I think that's
yours truly was joking.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yours truly. Yes, Michael. I think that's the thing, is it's that redesign from the Alex Ross. I believe that's what it is. I don't know for sure. I'm just going on what people have said to me. I could be totally wrong, but
I get why James wanted it to be different. Every symbol has been different. So no, I'm dealing with 2 sick kids and a sick wife.
Oh, gotcha.
Double ear infection and 2 kids. So
my gosh. Don't you get sick now.
Oh, I'm not.
And don't give us a computer virus.
All right. We're going to stay on this the Superman stuff with some Henry Cavill news here. I thought we'd bring this up. So I saw this today and I had to read the article because I was confused, but then I get it now. So Chad Stahelski's Highlander movie from Lionsgate to Amazon. It's moved from Lionsgate to Amazon because Lionsgate was worried about the budget, narrow appeal, and Henry Cavill's box office track record. Thoughts on this?
I mean, they didn't have to phrase it like that.
I mean, that's cold, right?
That's very cold.
Honestly,
they know why they did it. They know what they're doing when they be writing this stuff.
When you brought up Henry Cavill news, I thought you were talking about the other thing.
Which one?
About his Voltron just dropping to streaming and it not having a theatrical release.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what we're seeing here too. Like,
wait, what?
Yeah, they're just dropping it to streaming, no theater.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
I will continue to say this, and the Snyder cultists can be mad, and I mean specifically the toxic Snyder people, not the people who are casual fans, but the actual toxic Snyder fans. You guys don't love Henry Cavill. You like to use Henry Cavill as a weapon against James Gunn.
And I'll even go further on that point, and I'll say that all those people that pretend to love Henry Cavill as Superman or that love Snyder's work, they don't actually love Snyder's work. They're obsessed with one aspect of his work, because the second you try to change the conversation to anything else Snyder related, like just say, well, hey, if you're supposedly a Snyder fan, what do you think of like this Twilight of the Gods project that he's just done? It's really cool world building, really cool action, things like that. They'll flip the conversation and go, oh, well, James Gunn's Superman is a lot more of a bitch than Henry Cavill's is. It's like, you just can't even talk to those people.
That's true. Hey, Darren, I didn't think you were going to make it tonight.
Talking about
he said he was going to sleep.
And then I was just sitting here watching the stream. I was like, I'll just join, whatever.
You got a different hat on today. Which one is that one?
It's like a plum.
Okay. The hat game is always on fire with Darren. Always. So Darren, thoughts on this, on the lack of faith in Henry Cavill and moving his stuff to streaming between Voltron and now Highlander?
I don't know. I don't think the problem's him. Like, I don't think anyone has anything against Henry Cavill. I think he's a good actor. Just bad luck over the last couple years.
He needs to fire his agent and get a new agent, basically.
The most money he's made since then was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. I actually think so. I think, I know he's a big geek and nerd. That's why he always gets involved with a lot of these projects. I think Henry Cavill it would probably help him a lot to get away from this stuff and try something different, like indie stuff, or like more straight up, like maybe go back into because he was really well received in the Mission Impossible thing. So like in that vein of like that type of stuff, get away from this for a minute. You can always come back to this; it'll always be here, but get away from this for a minute.
I mean,
So-
even if you wanted to go back to something like Witcher, not necessarily tied to that IP, that won't happen. But something with that same tone, like that same sort of Witcher, Game of Thrones type tone and aesthetic, something like that. Because he was obviously really well received in that, so he could easily, I feel like, slip back into those kind of roles.
So on the trailer on HBO Max, it basically has the starring list, and apparently Millie Alcock is on
All
it.
right, my cat came to the door and kept knocking at the door, so she could be up here on the desk at any point now.
Hey DJ
So
Eric,
if an offensive comment goes into your chains from you, we'll just blame it on the cat.
Yes, 100%.
so DJ Eric, I
yeah.
found out that recently, like, there's a the trailer on HBO Max. Someone posted a photo of it with the casting list from the trailer, and Millie Alcock's been added to the list.
We already knew she was in the movie.
Like,
Yeah, I think they confirmed that, right? That she was.
Yeah, we already
Yeah.
knew.
well, I've just found out today.
I would love to see him do like a Knives Out kind of project, like
Yeah.
something that would let him just like play this original character, explore his acting range.
Yeah. or
I would
something.
say that the issues with these weren't Henry's work, though. I think there was other problems with these movies.
Yeah, there was a lot of production issues
Oh.
with those. That was not Cavill's fault.
Poor.
Again, he needs a
Poor
new
Argyle.
agent. He needs a new agent,
Right, yeah.
basically, is where it comes down.
And
to.
like there are other, like there are characters tied to other IPs that he's done a good job in when given the right direction. Because granted, I'm not the biggest fan of those Enola Holmes films, but I think Henry Cavill played a good Sherlock.
Oh yeah, he was good in those. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good. See, that is a project that I think is a good project for him. Like it worked out
Yeah.
in favor for him. But the thing is, like, and I see your comment, Staggervore. We're gonna pull that up in a second. But I think the thing is with Henry Cavill is, again, I think the Snyder fans, the cultists, but rephrase that. There are Snyder fans that are not toxic, but the toxic Snyder fans, the Snyder cultists, they don't support anything that Henry does unless it's connected to this, and even then they don't support it. That's why Black Adam failed.
Yep, and they spoiled that he was in the end just to get people to go see the movie.
Yeah.
They were mad about how that even went down, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
So, oh, why does he have a curl? Oh, that suit's ugly. Oh, yada yada yada. It was weird.
And then
It
you
was a
pay
weird
him,
time.
and then you pay him $275,000 for a cameo in the Flash movie that you don't even use.
Yeah. So let's look at this. We got a couple super chats here. My cat is making it really difficult for me to touch anything on my desk.
Oh, that cat just gave the demon expression there. That was the death glare.
Yeah, no, she's definitely like pay attention to me. Okay, so Stagger with the 4.9 super chat. What do you think the Snyder cultists will have to say if the new Superman movie succeeds? Well, it just has to beat Man of Steel.
They'll just cry.
They're just gonna move the goalpost.
Yeah, I mean, they'll go, actually, if you factor in inflation, it didn't do, you know what I mean? That'll be the thing they'll
Yeah.
do.
I mean, I'm the last person to put any stock in something like Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I don't say trust those things at all. But for as much of a quote unquote uproar as Man of Steel has gotten from fandoms like over the years, it's still in the 50s on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Yeah.
it's not as though it's universally loved by everybody.
And this was pre like the culture war online, so that would have been the score that it got back when it was just another movie in theaters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It got like a 58.
Yeah. So, and I get it. I keep having to like reiterate this. I've been a defender of my love of Man of Steel, but I understand it's not a perfect movie. So
Yeah, I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's that good of a Superman movie.
Cameron here says, have you seen the Superman toy leaks of the Lex Lexo suit? I've seen the Ultraman cat, Jesus. I've seen the Ultraman toys. I haven't seen the Lex toys though.
Cat's like, have you seen the toy of me?
Yeah, it's a Lexo suit that they've added into like a play set.
Yeah.
I mean, all in all, it could be in the film, but at the same time, it could not be in the film, and this is just a toy showing what's to come or something.
I mean, they've done, things like that where they'll put things like, designs for characters that don't end up being in the film at all, because they did that for Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, they made multiple Wolverine designs into official merch and even though his look changed many times throughout that movie, there was still official merch that released that did not show up in the movie itself at all.
I've got several keyboards. I can't get to any of them. Hold on. Let's do this.
Oh, see, I have multiple monitors here, but I only have one keyboard.
What's in the cup, Darren?
It's about to be in a very offensive message from Eric in the chat.
Beer, Lance.
Oh,
That's
Darren's
water.
finally on the big guys.
It's water.
What kind of water? Tap?
Yeah.
Aquafina, Ice
out.
Mountain. Oh,
Aquafina is better than Dasani.
Smart Water is better than all of them.
My favorite actress.
Poland Spring is better than all of them.
All right, let me see what we have here.
Lance, try Poland Spring. You will change your mind.
Vitamin water is healthier because it has vitamins.
I'm not.
Darren,
Who
you
is
got
that
people
behind
asking
me?
You got people asking what that is behind you.
What behind me?
Are they talking about your Power Rangers helmet?
Somebody said, "Who is that behind you?"
Oh.
I got scared for a second. I was like, do I have a stalker or something?
No, Johnny was about to come out of his closet and out of yours. You guys actually have conjoined closets.
I don't see. Oh wait, hold on. Wait, maybe this is it. Yeah, okay, I see it. Here we go.
Oh, are
Is
you
this
looking
one?
at the toy leak?
Yeah, is this the toy set we're talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir. With the shorts you hate as well.
I hate those
What is
shorts.
that? What is that thing under crypto?
It's Martian Manhunter.
I genuinely can't tell what that is.
Like a little alien that Lex probably has for some odd reason.
Yeah, I saw something about that online. I couldn't figure out what it was though. It looks like a little typical green alien.
And is it just me, or does it not look like David's suit has all the lines in this toy? I mean, my eyesight is not that great, I'll admit, but the lines don't nearly look as prominent on the toy.
I don't think they are. I think it's I think that would probably cost a lot of money to go through and do all of those little lines all over the toy.
Right.
So it's probably just blue and red with no lines.
Yeah.
Because you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Super Friends toys back from like the 80s and early
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, I have some of those actually, like the Batman one where it's like the blue and the gray.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if she comes back.
No, like I was saying before, I think you might have been attending to the cat on this, Eric, but like they've made, like this could very well be a thing that's in the movie or it's not, like the whole exosuit thing, because they've made, like they've put things out there as official merch for costumes in these comic movies that don't end up being in the movie, because they did that with Deadpool and Wolverine, because they changed Hugh Jackman's Wolverine design multiple times throughout that movie, but there was still like three or four designs that they made as official merch that didn't end up making their way into the movie.
Oh, true. That is true.
Because
So it could be just for toys then, like just to sell toys.
And hey, you know what? Batman and Robin did it.
So Cameron Walker's $2 super chat says Henry needs to fire the Rock ex-wife as his agent. Is that who his agent is?
Is that who his agent is? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would explain why both of them
right.
keep ending up in bad movies. That would explain it then.
And they ended up in a bad movie together. Hey, what?
They should have been in a movie together.
Wait, Eric, you mean you're not excited for Monster Jam, man? Come on.
Yeah, not at all.
Oh yeah.
No,
I mean, he's got that new new wrestling movie that looks really sick.
Who? Henry or Dwayne?
Dwayne Johnson.
I mean, those are like the only movies where he can get away with playing himself. Like that Fighting with My Family movie that Florence Pugh starred in. Like
but that's the whole thing. He's like not playing himself. His face is all like it doesn't seem like
It's
like
a biopic.
Like it's the first Dwayne Johnson movie I've ever seen where he's not playing Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, it's a biopic about an MMA fighter. So it looks really good.
All right, I'm doing the poll quickly.
Are the cops coming for one of you?
I know, it's right by my house. I live literally by the interstate, so.
Oh, gotcha.
The good thing is we have a noise barrier, so the only time people hear anything is when it's the cop or the fire department.
I mean,
Who's starring in Monster Jam?
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, yeah. There's probably a myriad of accidents that happen near there.
That's probably the least excited I've ever been for a Disney movie.
I saw that. I forgot Disney was even making that.
I couldn't give a fuck about that movie.
Right. It's like, I think, Darren, you and I saw that during D23 and we were like, oh, yeah.
We're like,
whoop-de-doo.
Yay.
So, by the way, we hit the goal, so the poll is up. We hit the goal, you get the poll. That's the way it works. So,
What are the options?
So the options tonight are, this is one of Lance's favorite, the 20 Awful Questions Part 2. So we'll do that again.
Oh, no.
Jake, I don't think you were here for that.
No.
don't think I was. No.
It's 20 randomly generated questions that are like you don't want to answer them. I can't remember what they were, but some of them really bad. Like name one person name a friend that you secretly hate that you've never said. Who is it or whatever?
Oh,
Things
I
like
would say that online.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's just those kinds of questions. Geek Battle game show with prizes. Now, I've already got the setup for that. That's already done. Basically, it is a quiz show that I have designed where we have 3 guests and they battle over geek stuff, and then I would give away a $20 gift card to the winner. So that's one of the ones we can do.
That sounds fun.
And it would be like guest tier, and then even people from the chat. As long as you're willing to come on StreamYard and you're willing to be on camera, you can compete in the geek battle. The watch along you pick because we didn't hit that goal last time, and people wanted me to bring that back, so that's in there. And one that I think people may appreciate: Arrowverse event crossovers ranked. So
Okay.
all of the
Fine.
crossover Arrowverses ranked as a topic.
Are
So
you-
we'll run
are you
those to the
counting-
end.
Are you counting like the Flash Supergirl mini crossovers in that?
Anything that was a crossover that was more than like a 1 episode thing.
Okay, so not like the duet of the world's finest.
Yeah, not that one. Something that's like an event. So it has to be something that feels like it's a
Okay.
multiple episode thing, or like something. What is my cat doing? Where did she go?
Black cats are always bad luck.
Wait, hold on. What? Let me find her. Hold on.
Well, nice
a
Street
second.
Fighter shirt.
Oh, thank you. Nairobi.
That sounds like a fun selection of topics. Oh wait, Darren. I gotta ask this because I just saw it. That thing, that Ben Grimm toy you have on that
She's
shelf
actually
there,
sleeping.
I've got that same one in a box somewhere. I've got that exact same one. Yeah.
She's actually in the window this time, so I'm gonna let her be because otherwise she'll be over here bothering me. So
Is this from the Burger King?
Yeah, those. I don't even think those were like movie merch. Those were just things that,
The TV show, I think.
like, it was just things that Burger King and McDonald's were selling at the time. Because there was one for Thing, and then they had one for Iron Man, where he's like in a flying stance and has 2 like visible beams coming out of him.
So
Speaking of which,
Yeah, go ahead,
really
Darren.
quickly, I don't know if you saw it, Eric. They
Mhm.
did reveal the Fantastic Four Funko Pop set.
they
Yeah, they
didn't, but you
did.
can link me on it.
Yeah, they
Okay.
did.
So I want to show you guys. This is on my Debunks channel. This is going to be my new podcast. I've already got the designs for it. It's called the Cope Cast right here. And what Cope stands for is crying over pronouns every day. So and what it's going to be is like looking at videos of people crashing out over diversity and laughing
That show
at
won't
them,
get canceled immediately.
and then laughing at them. So that's going to be that'll be
I'm pretty sure this is legit. I saw a
Okay.
couple of people posting it, so if it's not, I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because people regurgitate things, that makes them legitimate.
Let me ask you
I
guys a question.
know.
Do you think that a Jackbox night would be fun to do?
Ooh,
On
that
here.
would be fun.
Like playing Jackbox games? Would you want to do that? We could
Like
I would
the web game Jackbox.
well, it's actually like on Steam and other you can play games from your phone basically. You have your phone and
Yeah,
everybody gets to answer and stuff.
I think I've
like-
done it before, like Jackbox, like it's like Jackbox TV or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
We could do that with Jackbox because it doesn't require anybody to have anything except for a phone, a tablet, or a computer. So, and it can, like up to 10,000 people can join.
Yeah.
So I think we're
Yes.
okay. So I think we're all right.
Serenity, I would like what you're pitching there, Serenity.
Did you send it over, Darren?
I just I presented it down in the little thing.
Oh, I see it. Gotcha. All right. There you go. Ooh. Okay.
Johnny Storm looks hot.
I will say there's a pretty big spoiler there.
There
that the baby is already out of her belly.
Yeah.
So we are going to see the baby before the
You
end of
don't
the
look
movie.
mixed. That baby don't look mixed.
You know.
I might need most of these. That Johnny one is sick as hell.
That Ben Grimm fedora one looks awesome.
yeah,
The Johnny one and the Ben Grimm and the jacket and the hat is probably my favorite.
yeah.
We're
I
just-
think I need.
We're
No,
ignoring the silver titties.
No, you know what I'm surprised there's not one of? They didn't make one of Herbie.
Oh yeah.
You know what? They might though. This might just be the first like.
Yeah,
thing
they
to
might.
come out or
Yeah, because
whatever.
they
I
have
hope
like
so.
for all these movies, they have like their first round of Funko Pops.
But the Human Torch one is great.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the design
Yeah.
of that one is great.
I need that one for
Obviously,
sure.
and obviously
I-
there's not one.
I will
for-
say the Silver Surfer one is giving me like Family Guy vibes. I don't know why, like the shape of the foot and stuff. It's making me feel like it's Family Guy. I don't know. What
I
that
mean,
is.
obviously, there's not one of Galactus yet because we haven't seen the full look in the movie. So.
Well, there is. I think there is a Galactus Funko Pop, like an existing one, like a big one, but I don't. Not one from the movie.
Yeah,
though, so.
it's likely going to be, whatever one comes out from the movie. If one does, it's going to be one of those huge ones.
Let's see here. What was next on my list? We are going to watch the. Should we go ahead and watch the Ironheart trailer? Let me see. That will most likely not get removed because
Disney doesn't care.
Disney's been pretty good about it. So all right. So
I mean,
I want to. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say Disney's generally pretty good with that stuff. Like they seem to understand that it's free marketing. Warner Brothers, on the other hand, is a bunch of stubborn assholes about it.
We're gonna watch the trailer. I'm gonna give my thoughts on it, but I also want to talk about just the sheer negativity around the trailer that's so forced because I really want to address that. So let's go ahead. Let's get into this Ironheart trailer.
Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, I saw this one, but not on. I haven't sat and analyzed it. I kind of watched it one time and then. I forgot to change the playback speed. Like, why does it sound,
wondering.
I was like, why does it sound like the Terminator? Like, what is happening?
I was like, why does it sound like that?
I like they put Ryan Coogler's name right there, front and center.
Oh yeah.
I wish that was more of a draw.
Hello? For real?
Welcome, Riri. In less than 3 minutes, the air in this elevator will no longer be breathable.
Oh, what is this?
You're Harry. You'll suffocate and die unless you break into the device on the floor, where you will find a gas mask. Good luck.
Screw this.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius. So you win her out.
Okay.
Riri, I see you. I see you fed up, waiting to be
I love
acknowledged
Doechii,
for
by
your
the way.
greatness.
The music's gonna get claimed 100% even if Disney doesn't do it.
You are not the first genius at MIT.
Didn't touch mine.
How come you're not working at one of those fancy tech firms?
After my internship abroad, I want to build something undeniable, something
Important?
iconic.
It's a brand new
I can give you the tools to help you carry out your vision. But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life,
I'm saying this looks good to me. I don't give a
questionable
fuck what
things
people
to get
say.
it
This
done.
looks good so far.
what will you do, Riri?
You've bitten off a hell of a lot more than you can chew. I could chew a lot.
Oh, let me tell you, I'm so glad to see a physical suit, not a
nothing
nanotech suit.
about this
It
man.
feels so good.
You're gonna end up dead or in jail.
This is so much bigger than that.
Oh my god, that was cool.
This is wild. A shady bunker.
My bunker's not shady. Would a shady bunker have that on the wall?
Oh my god.
It's literally above a crate of self-guided missiles.
I'm returning those.
Alright.
I'm getting ready to jump out, but can I give my 2 cents?
Yeah, go for it.
So
About 3 cents.
even that. So one, love the trailer. I'm very excited for this. Marvel really dropped the ball with this rollout. And I'll be sticking to my guns with that. They're introducing Natalie in this, and if you read the comics, you know what happens to Natalie. I wonder if they're going to tackle that in this series. Because I don't think so. I don't think they are. But if they do, I'm not gonna be emotionally ready for that.
Yeah, it's some heavy hitting stuff.
To do in 6 episodes is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Also, to anybody who is hating on this and sending any hate her way, for lack of better verbiage, fuck you.
That's the appropriate verbiage.
That is the verbiage.
Yeah. Like you really have no reason to. I think Dominique Thorne is going to do an amazing job. She did an amazing job in Wakanda Forever. I love the way she was introduced. Ryan Coogler really revamped this character. That way, it wouldn't just seem like she was trying to come in and take Iron Man's place, because she's not.
Right.
She has not said anything about Tony Stark or Iron Man yet.
She never knew him.
So,
no connection.
no
Yeah.
connection whatsoever. No hologram talking to her. No nothing. And I like that take. People want to use the complaint that, oh, it's not about her race. It's not about her being a female. Yada yada yada. It's about the comic book storyline being terrible. Well, this isn't following the comic book storyline, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Those
I
people
really
can
hope.
say that.
Yeah, I really hope that this does well. And yeah, I'm just hoping for the best.
All right.
I know. I hope this isn't the last time that we see her character, but I
won't be surprised if it's the last
we
time
saw
we see her.
Blade one time. Well, we didn't even see him. We heard him one time. So
It's only going to be one Blade.
yeah.
Forever and ever. It's always going to be the.
Maybe she gets introduced in Young Avengers with them. Maybe she's a movie character. She was in a movie first.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
But see, that's what makes me worried, because they've said they're not going to be doing this anymore. And she was a movie character introduced in movies. So they might not have an interest in using her on the TV side.
So she might still be used. She just won't be like titular focus.
Right.
and even with that, they walk that back already.
What do you mean?
They walked that statement back about making sure that you still that. I forgot who it was, but it was during the upfronts. He said even though they want to make shows that aren't purely connected to films, they don't want to sever that tie altogether. So
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
they've already walked that statement back,
Yeah.
especially since they're changing their output model. I would expect to see, especially we have to now wonder where this lands in the timeline, because she's going to be out fully suited up. But at the same time, you got that anti-vigilante thing. So is this still taking place in the past, or are they firmly planting this right after Wakanda Forever?
The trailer says it's right after Wakanda
Yeah.
Forever, but you're right. Maybe there's a time jump at some point. I don't know.
Maybe it does start right after that, but then there is a
Right.
time jump, like the second or third episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Thanks for dropping in, Lance. I appreciate it.
No problem.
See ya, son.
I can't find my mouse. Oh, there we go. Bye, Dad.
Cameron here with the $5 super chat. I think Ironheart should have come out around the time. Yes.
Yeah, because she was
Absolutely.
placed in the movie to advertise her show.
I mean, that was the point, was to do this show shortly after the movie to keep the storyline going, so they didn't have this break.
People saw footage 3 years ago.
Yeah, because she felt so out of place in the movie.
I will say though, this show looks very polished. Like the VFX and CGI look like this shot looks incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would have looked this good if it would have came out right away after Wakanda Forever.
You know, it looks good. Like, and I'm convinced this will be, a well-made, well-put-together show. But I fear like there's a lot of things. Like, one, it's very poorly placed. Coming out like right before we get to a lot of the big stuff. They released this teaser on the same day as Superman, knowing it was going to get buried by it.
Yeah.
They have it to where with the 3-episode release and then 3 episodes coming after that, I feel like it's going to fall into the same thing that a lot of those Disney Plus shows fall under, and that they're telling a story that would have been better suited for film than TV. And
You know what's funny though? This trailer dropped, and all of the negative channels ignored the Superman trailer and made multiple videos about this one.
Right. Yeah. Because
So that tells me like you guys just sit around and want to hate on stuff. That's all it is. Like you had Superman come out, and instead of talking about the trailer that was trending more than this one, they focused on this trailer.
Yep.
Right, because they probably couldn't think of as many bad things to say about this.
Exactly.
About that one. And
That's a white man. They don't have nothing bad to say.
That's true. That's
I was
true.
even talking about this to Darren earlier. It's like, I'm worried that this might fall under the same banner as something like Moon Knight and Miss Marvel, where the lead, like the main actor as the title character, is probably going to be the best thing about this, but the story it tells overall is sadly probably not going to leave that big of an impact.
I think I don't think that it's going to do well, and I don't think it's because the show's going to be bad. I think just like with Echo, you can tell when a studio either A, doesn't have confidence in something, or B, wants to just throw something out to get it out. This to me doesn't feel, I'm not saying they're not confident. I know I said that before, but I don't even think that's it. I don't think it's a level of confidence because it is a Ryan Coogler produced show.
Yeah.
I think that they see this character as a dead end character. It's like they have no plans for Ironheart beyond this show. Except maybe we'll see her in the Secret Wars Doomsday thing for like a minute. Yeah. Which is why I fear she won't be in Young Avengers. And I'm not trying to be like a sky is falling type situation with this, but they don't seem to have a lot of love for Ironheart. And it's weird because they put her in Wakanda Forever, a massive sequel.
Yeah.
She was arguably one of the 3-4 top characters in that movie in terms of like stories. They put her in there and now they want to dump the show off.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And the only reason the show's not getting any buzz is because they waited so long to put it out.
Right.
It's their fault.
Yeah, because if it would have came out in like the winter or spring of 23, then there probably would have been a lot more people attached to it because they would have been like, oh yeah, hey, I remember that character. Let's see what the next thing is.
Yeah.
But,
I would love to know what the problems were. What caused the show to take so long to get released? Like, I get it if they say, oh, we wanted to make sure the visual effects were right. Okay, cool. Okay. I mean, I think it was a problem that it took so long, but that explains it. I've not heard one solid reason why on production side, why this show got delayed so far to where it is now.
It should have been last year. Last year there was, one movie and like 2 live action shows? Put this out. Put this last
We
summer.
talked about it. There was room for a live action show last year.
Yeah.
Because this show, this show, as far as I know, doesn't chronologically have to tie to anything, which means it could have just came out last year.
That's exactly it. And again, maybe I could be wrong, but again, this takes place seemingly a month after Wakanda Forever. It seems like she just got back. And I was saying for months now, Eric, that I said I thought they were waiting until after Agatha came out because I assumed that there was going to be set up for Young Avengers in this show. That's just what I assumed because what else would make sense? Right. What else in this context would make sense? I thought maybe Billy showed up at the end of the show or something to set up something, right?
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, I'm going to be pissed because they waited for nothing.
Yeah, because the only live action show last year was what? Echo
and Agatha, yeah.
Was Agatha last year?
October, yeah.
It's crazy. But somebody brought this up in the comments. So was this supposed to connect to Armor Wars? Maybe at some point when Armor Wars was still a thing, yeah. But that is probably something that could have taken in the time to probably something that could have resulted in.
I would since Quantumania, it feels like Marvel has been a basket of bad ideas when it comes to how things are being done. I don't know if the Jonathan Majors thing shook them that hard, but it feels like it's just been tripping and tripping and tripping. Not necessarily in quality, but in the way they're doing things. I honestly believe that if you look back at phases like 1, 2, and 3, what Marvel was doing right wasn't just how good or bad the movies were, because you could argue that Thor 2 was not a good movie. You could argue that Iron Man 3 was not a well-received movie. These are things that people said about these films, right? But they still did well in the box office. Yeah. And the reason why is Marvel had a lock on marketing and cadence of release. These are things they did a really good job with. Ever since COVID, they have yet to be able to recover any sort of consistency in their release schedules or any of these things. Yeah. The fact that you had a show like this sitting on the back burner and you waited this long to put it out tells me that, at least from their side, that they don't care if the show does well or not. They don't give a shit. They're ready to get it out there because I believe Marvel is focused on now Fantastic Four and the next 2 Avengers movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Because back in the early MCU days, you could tell they were carefully planning out what character was going to appear where to plant the seeds for everything that was going to culminate in what was eventually Infinity War Endgame. And this is something I was even saying earlier today, that like while a number of these projects might have been good on their own as individual installments, there has been very few connective through lines, putting them together, feeling like they're all leading towards one thing. And the universe hasn't really felt connected in a while, up until, Thunderbolts, and, like whether you wanted, whether you like the film or not, Brave New World to an extent, the universe really hadn't felt connected in a while. And I think that's been one of the biggest problems too, is like there hasn't been that strong of a through line, or nearly as long of one. And that's ultimately been one of the biggest things that screwed them.
Yeah, and I really do think that was COVID. Like,
Yeah.
I think they had a lot of plans in those early eras. I think they had a lot more they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then it was a writer strike, and then it was a villain change, and like
Yep.
they have had bad luck after bad luck. And me and Jake were talking about this earlier, but I do finally think they have found some sort of stableness. And like I think Kevin Feige has been trying to get the rails on this universe for the last 3 years now, but he's couldn't, because they made so many projects during that 2021 2022 era, and they were like, it's too much. And this is the year they're like, get it all the fuck out,
Right.
get it all out there. We need to get these out before we can move forward. And I think this is one of the tragedies of that mindset. But I do think this is one they should have took their time on, especially if she is Young Avengers. If she's going to be one of your main players, you should take your time with her.
Yeah, and not to mention everything that happened with Chadwick Boseman too. That definitely set them back. Like, because he was, you can tell he was definitely going to be one of your big players in Phase 4. But then with everything that happened, they had to pivot. They didn't have a choice.
So I want to address this in discussing film stuff. So it says the Ironheart trailers received more dislikes than likes on YouTube, with 238,000 dislikes so far. It's been watched over 5.9 million times and has 155,000 likes at the moment. This was this morning, so it's probably much worse now. But these outlets know that these are bot dislikes. They know that.
Right.
So why are we reporting on this? Also, the add-on that you use for Chrome to see the dislikes on YouTube, it is an unconfirmed thing. Like, it doesn't, they're not sure. It guesstimates what the dislikes are based on certain parts of the algorithm, because YouTube has blocked that. It's not visible for a reason.
I mean, if they really want to treat it as like, a whole DOA type thing, would this many people have even watched it?
It just doesn't make sense for something. Okay, so let's just put this in perspective. This is a show that a lot of people say they don't care about, like they're not going to watch it, or it's one that a lot of fans don't know about or whatever. So if the show is that insignificant, why are you going through the trouble of mass disliking it?
Right.
I've got the answer for it. I can tell you what the answer is. The answer is it's a black girl.
Yep.
That's the answer. And it's just that simple. There's no other reason why. The trailer looked fine. Like, even if you were to say the trailer didn't inspire you to watch the show, there was nothing objectively wrong with that trailer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like,
nothing wrong with it. I've heard them say, "Oh, well, it's a identity politics show or whatever," which is code for it talks about black people and women, so therefore I'm going to use a buzzword instead of just when I do my racist and sexist stuff. That's what that is.
It's so interesting, because like this is like the one that I just simply can't understand, even trying to create a narrative around, right? Because like some of these other shows, I can get where they got their narrative from. Like She-Hulk is like, you don't like the twerking stuff, and it makes Hulk look blah blah blah. They're wrong, right? But like I can see where you got there. The whole Rachel Zegler stuff, I can see where you got there, right? There is no
Dominique has not said anything controversial.
Right.
There's no.
What do you have to complain about?
There is no ground of criticism with the show that doesn't scream, I'm a racist. There is nothing. There is nothing you could possibly say that could justify any towards of hate towards it. Like, it just, I don't know.
So this other thing is this DEI stuff, which I see a lot as well. I want to address all this tonight to get it out of the way, because otherwise I'll make like 10 videos on my Debunks channel about this. I've already talked about it a little bit. How does DEI apply here? It doesn't even make sense. This is a self-made character who did all of these things on her own. Like in the comics, she made all of her stuff on her own. Nobody did anything for her. Nobody gave her a pass. In the show, we see where she comes from. We see how she gets where she is in Wakanda Forever. None of that is DEI.
Right.
So then they tie back to like the whole Marvel initiative about like, oh, when this character was created in a time when the studio was trying their best, or when Marvel was trying their best to be more inclusive and stuff like that. What does that mean in the context of the quality of the character? I understand that some people have an issue with DEIA and they think it's applied in a way that, to be quite honest, they misunderstand. They're ignorant to how it works. But even if you look at it from the onset of like, Marvel wanted to be more diverse, so they wanted to try and include people who aren't the normal status quo of comic books. That is not a default that it's going to be bad. You have to understand that. It is not a default. Can a character made solely based on DEIA be a bad character? Yes. However, they can also be a good character. The same thing with any character that's ever created in the history of comic books. If you look back, there's a lot of really bad characters in comic books that have nothing to do with DEI. So what's the excuse there? What's the reason there? So my point is, just because a character was created in a time period when Marvel was trying to expand the types of stories they were telling, does not equal automatically that that thing is bad.
And by the way, that's what they asked for. That's their argument. It's like, it's just not making their like white characters black. Okay, here's an original character. Original character. This is what you asked for.
Right. If that sense we're thinking like that's been my whole stipulation for years, because I don't personally agree with changing characters that have been around for 50 plus years just to check off a box. I think that's tactless. I think it's hollow. And I think it's stupid. But making these new characters and like having those bits of their identity actually be parts of who they are, and not just saying, oh, look at this minority that I'm going to shove in your face. They're not those types of characters. That's a part of our identity. That's part of who they are, but they're not just a blatant ripoff of insert character here.
It just goes to show that goalpost doesn't exist for them. Like the people that complain about this, if I say, like I've said this before, if you prefer Steve Rogers as Captain America, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Just like I will say, this is my favorite version of this character. I don't have an issue with that. But if your goalpost is, I just prefer the OG characters, and then Riri comes along, a brand new character that is not a race swap, a gender swap, none of those things, and you say, this is an original character, and you're still complaining about it, then the goalpost that you initially set up where you said, I want them to just make their own characters, that doesn't exist for you.
Even then, the whole Sam Wilson thing isn't like it's a race swap either. It's a passing of the mantle.
Right. That's the whole point. That's it. I always tell people, name a character in the comic books who has literally been race or gender swapped and it's stuck, where they switched them out and they stayed that way. The only example of that I can think of, and it's not even really a swap because it's a different universe, is the Nick Fury Ultimates universe. That's the only one that I can think of where that happened. And that was a separate thing completely from the OG Nick Fury in the main continuity in 616.
The only other one
I guess.
The only other one I can really think of is like Wally West, but then that was retconned into being a different.
That's what I mean. It has to stick, though. That's my criteria. If you're going to complain about something, it has to stick. It has to be something that they changed and it stayed that way and they never went back to the way it was. And that doesn't exist because we have both Wallace and Wally. We have both of those characters.
Yeah, I can't really think of one that's stuck. No.
The comments under the you said Iris, Darren, right? From
kind of Iris, because I feel like they've been doing a lot with her based on like the CW Flash, but like she's such a character where like that doesn't matter. I
actually think Iris may get swapped back at some point because with the show being so far away and the movie not performing well, they might just think it's pointless to make that change. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my issue with this is. The standard, and I'm not going to read the comments under this because I've already responded to several of them and they are bad, but my standard is equating DEI to being bad is a standard that doesn't actually exist. It's something that people have made up in their minds to try and make you pretend that, oh, if you see somebody who is in a part of a marginalized community in a position of power, that automatically means they don't deserve to be there and it's bad. If you don't want to watch Ironheart, guess what? It's going to be very easy to ignore it because Disney doesn't give a fuck. So just move on with it. But you can't get on YouTube and be like, scream out, no one gives a fuck about this DEI show, whatever, and make 10 videos about it when the Superman trailer came out, and you could be making 10 videos about that, talking about how good it was. or talking about the things you didn't like in it, instead of harping on Ironheart, to show that, to be honest, as much as I want it to do well, it's probably going to be forgotten in like a month. Like as soon as the show is over, a lot of people will probably never even talk about it again. And that's the sad reality, because Disney and Marvel has made it that way. It could have been a 6-week running show. This could have been the bridge show leading up into Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they decided not to do it. It looks good to me. I'm going to watch it. I'll talk about it after we watch the episodes. I'll be very honest about it, just like I have been. Like I said, her being in Wakanda Forever felt to me like a knee-jerk thing to do because of what happened with Chadwick. But they managed to make it work. And it wasn't my favorite storyline in the movie, but we did get a chance to meet her. And I think it was as well done as it could be. This looks to me like it's a proper show where we're actually going to learn about her. We're going to get to see her stand on her own, which is what she's said in interviews. Dominique, the lead star of this show, has said 0 problematic things. That's why I don't understand. Like, you're going after Rachel Zegler because she hurt your feelings, or you're going after Brie Larson because she said something about white reporters. Right. I understand that you want to harp on that. I don't agree with it, but I understand why you're saying it.
Right.
With Dominique, there's nothing that she said that is even remotely problematic in promoting this.
No.
And discussing film having to block replies, the reason why is because people have become so predictable. Discussing film knew as soon as the show's trailer came out that racist people would be in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
I uploaded my reaction to the trailer, and I automatically turned them off because I'm not dealing with that. I'm not giving people the place to just be bigots. I was like, I know what's coming. I'm not going to allow that.
Yeah. So Lone Wolf here with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Lone Wolf. Jake, I think this is in response to your, like, where you're saying, like, this is what they asked for, like, not a race swap or gender swap. What you just said, the exact same thing as Sean Chandler. I haven't heard Sean Chandler's take, but I can understand that. That has been his main con lately. Tell New World and Thunderbolts, and I agree with both of you about what you said.
Yeah,
so,
about like the like MCU coherent universe bits. Yeah, because like the stuff that they did in those last 2 movies, it referenced other things in those projects, and for a connected universe, it definitely made it feel more coherent. But more so in the case of Brave New World, I don't know if it benefited the film it was in, but it made the universe feel more connected.
And also, I think Daredevil, like, as there's not a direct connection to it, you feel the potential stakes of the like anti-vigilante laws and the things in place that makes it feel like it's connected.
Right.
Even though they didn't do anything about it. Like, it's probably just all in our head, but it's like, oh, you could be like, oh, this might lead to here kind of thing.
That might have stakes going into future television installments, I imagine.
It kind of feels like what, Legends.
I forgot you were here. I'm so sorry.
Well, damn.
Yeah, talking in a minute. I completely forgot.
It kind of feels like what Legends does when they screw up time and it doesn't seem it because they fix it like 16 episodes later. So basically, the vigilante law is like not even in submit yet.
So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out the poll here in a second. We're coming to the end. I want to read this quote, and then we're going to leave on a high because I want to talk about something that I'm excited to see how it does. So I'll pull that up here in a second, but let's drop this down. And thank you, Lone Wolf, again. So this is from Ryan Coogler on Ironheart. Riri is definitely in conversation with a street-level show like Daredevil. You've got characters trying, both heroes and villains, to make do with what they have. Then you combine that with Cosmic Marvel, characters who would be at home in Doctor Strange or WandaVision. That mix of street-level Marvel and magical Marvel is a pretty crazy combination. This makes me excited.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to see the show. Like, we're talking about like a street level vibe, but with magic and science and technology. And again, when she lands, I want to say this as somebody who loved like the Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, like physical like suits that like flew in and connected and everything. I'm excited to see that again. And no hate on nanotech, but it feels lazy.
The MCU has kind of always been that blend when you think about it, like mixing the grounded with the magical, like, for those past number of phases, mixing your things like your Captain Americas, to an extent your Black Panthers, mixing those things with like Thor and your Doctor Strange, things like that. The MCU has kind of been that blend for a while.
You know what kind of makes me laugh a bit is the fact that when Iron Man goes to a certain height, it triggers the
the thing to save him from like getting too high out of
yeah,
basically.
No, I mean like it triggers the alarm that someone's in the aerospace
Oh
of
yeah.
the Marines, where they're like, "Oh, someone's flying. There's a bogey." Her being street level is flying under the radar.
Well, I think what they're trying to get across here is that she doesn't have the resources that everybody else has. So she's using the armor and the parts that she has. It looks like she's got some upgrades here, but that's going to be because of the introduction of, I don't know his name, but Obadiah Stane's son,
Yeah.
I think. Grandson? I can't remember.
Just
son or grandson.
crazy that we're
Yeah.
going all the way back to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, she has no connection to Iron Man except for the people that are hating on the show. She has no connection to Iron Man, and so why does she look like Iron Man? Well, because Obadiah Stane's son is going to be helping her, and he's probably really smart and has resources. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to tie back that way.
They're connecting, people that didn't have connections before, because look at all the people from the Incredible Hulk that are connected to Sam Wilson and Brave
It's
New
Zeke.
World.
Okay, Zeke. Yeah, Zeke or Zeke. I don't know how it's pronounced, but I'm looking forward to that. Okay, that's going to be fun. All right, so let's see what you guys picked on the poll.
The poll goal.
Let's see what we got here.
The poll goal.
The poll goal, right? All right, so the Geek Battle game show with prizes won barely with 30%. The Arrowverse event crossover ranks was 27%. So we'll try for the Arrowverse thing again next week. I'll put that up in the poll there. So the Geek Battle game show with prizes, there will be a $20 prize for the winner. I have the whole thing set up to go already. I just have never used it. So I will schedule that, and anybody that wants to participate, we need 3 people. So anybody that wants to participate, just let me know, and I will bring you in. And it's a quiz show, but it's very different from the normal quiz stuff. So it's not like a trivia thing. It's going to be pictures and visuals, and it's going to be fun. Like anybody that wants to do it, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not one of those like you have to think too hard about it. So there we go.
I made my quiz a little bit easier for people that haven't.
I know we just have to
seen
get
it in a
Paige to commit.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Getting Paige to commit to do it. All right. With that being said, here's a
commitment issues. What?
right, exactly. This is I want to say, with all the bad news we have around Ironheart, which it sucks because I'm excited for the show, and I'm still going to be excited. Even with all the drama, I'm still going to be excited for it. We do have something here that's quite exciting. So advanced ticket sales for Lilo and Stitch began last week, and first day pre-sales exceed the 2025 record set by a Minecraft movie. Disney has had incredible success with live-action remakes at the box office, and several of these have gone over to cross $1 billion. So Lilo and Stitch's total box office reaching $1 billion looks inevitable, according to analysts.
By the way, it was supposed to be a streaming movie.
Yeah.
Bob Chapek thought, yeah, that's a good idea.
Right. And we were whenever the whole whenever the whole D23 announcement happened, we were coming up on the date that it was originally supposed to release, and we had heard nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I had always said that was a stupid idea.
That's an awesome picture. I love that picture.
That is very fun. I kind of want to make that my profile picture. That's incredible.
It's on Screen Rant, so you go over and pick it up. But yeah, it's great. Man. Isn't it great? I mean, it's just so funny. Look at his smile and everything, wearing the armor and the Thanos. But no, I'm excited for this, not because I'm a massive, I know that some people have their favorite, Disney movies. Mine was always been Lion King. But I know everybody has their favorites, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those ones where we're going to see why they occasionally do these live action movies, because they get it right sometimes. And this is one of the times I think they're going to get it right.
I think the marketing for this one has been really brilliant. It reminded me of how the old film was marketed, because, you would have just these clips of other random, I almost said Disney movies, where he just pops up in other scenes. One of the more memorable ones is when they put that, Beauty and the Beast ballroom dance in a trailer, and you see Stitch crawling up on the ceiling and then crashing down with the chandelier. They've done marketing like that where they just place him in clips of other things, and it's a great marketing campaign. I think it worked 20 years ago, and it works just as well again.
Marketing's been going crazy, and I think if this is as accessible as it seems it's going to be, I think this is a franchise we're going to be keeping around for a while. I think Lilo and Stitch is going to become a new staple for them. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I was saying, if they hadn't already had Mickey Mouse, if that wasn't Disney's mascot, I think they would make Stitch their mascot, because they love this guy. He is arguably their most marketable character of all time. He sells like hotcakes. People love this little dude, and I think now that he's back in their arsenal, they're going to milk this franchise once again, just like they did in the early 2000s with like 4 straight to DVD movies and like a 4-season TV show and all these crossover events, and like I think we're going to see that a lot again moving forward.
Imagine if the world ever gets to a point where Stitch is public domain.
Oh God.
I want to I'm going to throw this out into the world, and we probably won't talk much about it anymore, but I don't necessarily think the issue with Snow White, quote unquote, flopping has a lot to do with the quality of the film, even though it is in question. I think it just goes to show that Snow White as an IP is not popular. Yeah. It's not a popular IP.
Even back then it wasn't.
Yeah, if they want to bring Snow White back into the world, they sort of need to do it, I think, as an animated thing first, like an animated series, or bring her back that way. Trying to do that movie by bringing in Gal Gadot as your big draw in, and then Rachel Zegler is like the second biggest name attached to it. I think they could have done more. Like, they could have done more. Like, I know it's probably cliche, but could you imagine if they had, like, Catherine Hahn playing the witch? Like, that would have been incredible. She's an incredible singer. They could have really drove in that vibe of her, you know, getting older and wanting to look young again. Because Gal Gadot is beautiful. So it's like, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me in that way, unless they were going to have her play dual roles or something along those lines. Yeah. And her singing was atrocious. So there's that. But
it's so funny the fact that, like, going into the movie, people were thinking, oh, you know, like, Rachel Zegler is probably going to be a chore to get through. Gal Gadot's probably going to steal the show. And then the movie comes out and it's the opposite reception.
Yeah. Well, that's because all these people had you believing Rachel Zegler was an untalented hack that didn't belong in the movie, when in fact she's extremely talented and her voice is incredible. And so,
you know, like, just because she was in Shazam 2 doesn't mean she's untalented.
True. We got a super chat here from Cameron. Eric, have you seen the trend of people saying gingers are black now? It's not a recent thing. People have said for years, or theorized for years. We talked about it a little bit the other day.
I was like flashbacking to it.
Yeah. That in comics, they would ostracize people with red hair, gingers, I guess. They would make them the othered characters to stand in for minorities because the comics code prevented those kinds of stories from existing. So you couldn't have a gay character in a comic book because they wouldn't allow you to do it. You couldn't have a minority in a comic book being treated a certain way because they wouldn't allow you to do it. So they would just have a white person with red hair be that person. So that's how that happened.
And I wouldn't even specify that, or I wouldn't even specify it to just, you know, just them being black, because, you know, Matt Murdock, you know, went from red to brown hair. Jean Grey, you know, went from, like, in the original movies, you went from, you know, red to brown, and then they fixed that a little bit with Sophie Turner. But, you know, other people like Roy Harper, red hair in the comics, not in live action. Wally West obviously is not. Iris is not. Lana Lang.
Starfire.
Starfire is not. There's others that I'm trying to think of right now. Jimmy Olsen is not. In any of his appearances, he hasn't been. I feel like there are a lot of others. Guy Gardner does not appear to be. So yeah, there's a whole big list. So that doesn't. That's not just limited to them, you know, being swapped to, you know, just people of color.
So Darth Zen, I also wasn't aware of just the power of those characters, but I went and looked it up a little bit, and I mean, just in general, just that particular the little blue sort of Stitch design or whatever, it's extremely popular with kids.
And
so,
even this new generation, like my nephew, like loves Stitch. He even tried to mimic the sound of Stitch, which is kind of funny.
and we are in this era where we're seeing a lot right now, where the Gen Z nostalgia is very, very popular. We're seeing that with Moana. We saw that with Inside Out 2. We're about to see that with Zootopia 2.
And Lilo and Stitch.
Percy Jackson, we are How to Train Your Dragon's about to come out, right? So it's like we're seeing that a lot right now, and Lilo and Stitch was just such a pulp culture Gen Z icon, and hasn't really stopped since. Like, go to any store that sells any kind of plushies, you're going to find Lilo and Stitch merch and plushies and stuff everywhere. It's still just so popular and iconic. It's like, it's same as the like Olaf and the like Baby Yoda thing with Disney. Where
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, these are their iconic plushy kind of characters
Yeah.
they put out.
It's so weird when. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was gonna say it's so weird when you look at something like Moana and look at the fact that we're not even a decade out from that movie and they're already announcing a live action remake.
Yeah. Fatman says, my 5-year-old nephew is excited for this movie. I bought him a Stitch Elvis plush a few Christmases ago, and now he knows where it came from. That's the other thing is I see like variants of the Stitch character everywhere because it's very similar to Deadpool and Mickey Mouse and stuff. You can just put him in all kinds of different costumes.
Yeah.
So.
I remember when they were selling those Stitch Elvis things as McDonald's toys back in the day.
That's true. Philip says Lilo and Stitch was my shit back in the day. Jonathan says there's one live action Disney remake I want. It's Princess and the Frog. We're supposed to get that Tatiana show that didn't happen because of whatever reason. They said that's like the one thing that hasn't been touched again since it came out. So
they're doing a short now instead of that series for like Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering if they're going to try and pivot similarly to Moana 2, where it's like maybe not trying to rework that show, but maybe they'll try and pitch Princess and the Frog 2 here in the future, which I could see.
That means someone is going to be turned into a frog again.
Let's hope not.
Because it's Princess and the Frog. I mean, there's only so much you can do with that.
Let's hope we don't do that again.
So, Reed, I heard that Haunted Mansion remake was great, but nobody, like, it didn't get supported in theaters, which kind of sucks.
Oh, that pissed me off so much because it's really good. Like, arguably way better than the original, in my opinion. It was just a July release.
I think it's on Disney Plus already. Like, you can watch it on Disney Plus now.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up. We got through everything tonight in a shorter amount of time. We didn't hit the 3-hour mark, so that's really interesting. But anyway, I will see everyone later on. There will be a bonus stream. What is going on this weekend? Let me double check and make sure here. There will be a bonus stream on, let's do Saturday afternoon. I'll do a bonus stream on Saturday afternoon around 4.
This Saturday?
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll do a few different topics. Matter of fact, if you guys want to do your Flash stuff, we can do that. But if not, I'll come up with some other topics. We're gonna kind of get through some of the stuff that people have voted on that we haven't had a chance to get to.
Hopefully
so what I'll do is I'll send that over to everybody. All the things we're going to talk about, and if you want to join, you can join. And of course, even if you're not going to participate, you can still jump on and chit chat a little bit. All
right.
But Prince of the Frog 2, The Frog Strikes Back. That's cool. So,
Return of the Frog.
Yeah. Well, thank Lance for joining, even though he had to head out. 3Dub for being here from the start. Thank you so much. And of course, Jake for jumping in, and then Darren for being like, I'm laying around listening, so I might as well just jump on and chat. We did have a last minute super chat here from Lone Wolf, $2 super chat. Did you see the Final Destination Bloodline had a 94? Yes, yeah, I did see that. So let's look real quick before I go. I just want to see what it is now.
I don't know. Like I said before, like I haven't put any stock in Rotten Tomatoes ever since that I saw Sharknado 1 got an 84 on there. All the credibility just went out the window.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Rotten Tomato person either, but I get it. It's at 93, but it's got 100 reviews, so I don't think it's going to change very much.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of that franchise in general. Like, I'm not someone that follows
I haven't touched them.
But I am always someone that I'm very happy when something succeeds if people put a lot of work into it. So shout out to them and all the fans of Final Destination for having like a really solid film. I hope it's really good. Plus, we know who's in it for their final movie of all time, right? Is that not
Tony
his final
Todd?
movie? Yeah, is it not his final movie?
Was that Tony Todd?
Was that his final movie? I think it is. Right? Is he in unless he's in a video game or something like that. But yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully it's good. We'll see. Anyway, we're getting out of here. I'm going to hit the end stream before I finish saying this because it's always awkward. So thank you so much, Jake. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, 3Dub. Thank you, Lance. Make sure you subscribe